For more great shows like the one you're about to enjoy, visit electronicmediacollective.com. And now, our feature presentation.
Welcome to the exciting world of the movies.
Hello, retro movie lovers, and welcome back to the Movie Graveyard. We have got a special treat for you tonight, because not only are we digging up a stone cold classic movie celebrating its 35th anniversary this year, but we also have a brand new movie gravedigger. I want to welcome, he's got a shovel in hand, he's got his gloves on, he's ready to help exhume the cinematic corpse with me. I am joined by the one, the only Bat 32 of exploited cinema and the founder of Sleaze Fiending Magazine. Bat, thank you for finally coming down to the movie graveyard and helping us dig up these movies.
Whoop whoop! Yeah, well, you finally fucking invited me on your show. How long have you been doing this?
Which, by the way, I guess we should acknowledge it. It was a couple weeks ago, but I'm really bad with just remembering to bring shit up on episodes. But yeah, we just hit the 7th year.
So you've been doing this for 7 years, and you finally invited me on now.
I couldn't find you. I was looking all over for you. I didn't know where you was at.
I think you've been on the resurrection of exploited cinema now. What, like
4 times?
6 times?
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
I think we did 3 commentaries, maybe 2. Yeah, but
yeah. And then we did recent. Well, it wasn't, but it just came out recently. Yeah. We did it 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Huge Cronenberg retrospective for Strebo's
MVP radio.
Yeah, well, it was almost as long as the last EC episode.
The last EC we did was a 9-hour recording. I think Zach whittled it down to like 7.5 hours. With Strebo, we did, I don't even know, 7 hours, and I think he whittled it down to like 6.
6.5. Yeah.
So this podcast will not be that long.
Thankfully.
Because other day, you weren't even familiar with the format. You're like, what, it's a commentary? Like, oh, it's going to be that long of a show? And I'm like, what do you mean that long of a show?
I thought it would be 45 minutes. I was like, ooh, we're doing a 45-minute show.
Whatever it is, 106-minute movie. That's going to be like a breeze compared to our 9-hour shows that we used to do.
Yeah. It'll be like a nap.
Because even back in the old EC, the OG EC days, we used to roll 3.5 hours every episode.
That was average, but that was like that was reasonable compared to like 6.5. That's 2 episodes and what it takes to get that, you know.
That was back in the days when we were just inventing podcasting. Now we have the process down cold.
Commentaries are the way to go, man. It somehow it's like, let's just do a commentary because that'll keep it within a boundary.
Exactly. So we're going to get this one rolling. We have No Man's Land from 1987, starring Charlie Sheen, D.B. Sweeney, directed by Peter Werner. So we have it paused. Depending on what you have, you might have the out-of-print Blu-ray. You might have just one of the recordings that's always going around MGM HD, or you could have the old school full frame DVD that I refused to buy for years and years, or you could have
you could have a bootleg.
Yeah, you could have that.
You never know.
Or you could have the beautiful Laserdisc, which was one of the first Laserdiscs I ever bought. Believe it or not, I think it was like the 3rd Laserdisc. Yeah. So yeah,
I have a VHS of this, so I run across this VHS like on a regular. So if you are wanting a copy, the next time I see one at the retail shop or Goodwill, grab it. Because I've turned it down. I've passed it up now 3 times. It's pretty common. Yeah.
If it's the OG one, maybe. Not if it's the movie time version. Yeah, the movie time version. Fuck that.
No. It's always the OG one. I've never even seen that. That's what I've got. I always see these. So it must have been a popular movie where there were a lot of VHSs made.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and get into it. I have it paused at the original opening logo that says, oh no, Orion Pictures Release. This is one of the beautiful films made by Orion Pictures back in the day. If you have the Blu-ray, that's the 34-second mark. If you have the bootleg, that's probably like the 5-second mark. So get it queued up to an Orion Pictures Release. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, go. And when I say go, Bat, please hit play on your remote control, okay?
All right.
All right, 1, 2, 3, go. and we were rolling. I feel like we're in Star Wars.
Yeah. I always loved Orion. When I saw that fucking those stars spinning, I was like, oh, this is gonna be good every time. I don't think I've seen an Orion Pictures film that I didn't like. So.
I agree. And speaking of, like, we're off with some style. Like, the first shot of the movie is, we don't realize it at first, but it's a time lapse of Los Angeles going from day to night. And this is an awesome title sequence where you see a cityscape, and then it's in the reflection of a car window, and you see a guy breaking out the car window, and the title comes flying out at you, No Man's Land. And
now that I see this in HD, I always, because on the VHS, and the first time I ever saw this was like on TV, and it was a little bit into it already. Like, I don't think it was only like 15, 20 minutes when I first saw this on a movie channel, and I was like, yeah, what's this? I've never seen Charlie Sheen as a car thief, and then I hadn't seen it in years until I bought that VHS, and I would just always remember liking the film. I'm like, wow, what's that fucking Charlie Sheen Porsche? I just remembered him being a Porsche thief, like, distinctly.
Yeah, and like, we'll get into it, but it's almost blink if you miss it. The car thief that we follow and taking the Porsche to the chop shop, he's actually an undercover cop.
Yeah, I always thought it was Sheen because you didn't really see him very. Yeah, it was like it kind of looks like him in the reflection. So
it does, and like I'm with you, kind of seeing this in HD again. I saw it theatrically, but of course, I mean, that was a billion years ago, and then I saw it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Holy shit!
And I saw it, on cable a bunch, and then I didn't really see it. I want to say for probably about 15 years until I tracked down that Laserdisc, and then when I got that Laserdisc around, I want to say it was around 2011. That was the first time I'd seen it, really in years and years. And then later I did catch it in HD on MGM HD showing, but when Kino came out with the Blu-ray, I jumped on it, and I got to say, like, you really do have to see this film in HD to really understand, like, how good stylistically and visually it is.
Because it's pretty dark.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of night shots in here, and yeah, I mean, the VHS it doesn't look terrible. I mean, it's not like one of those deals like what's that? What's that film by David Hess, the Christmas one, for the longest time?
Oh, yeah, To All Good Night, yeah.
To All Good Night, yeah, that was one of the movies where it's like, I can't see the ending, and nobody could really make it out until, the DVD at least came out, or Blu-ray. I don't know which one came out first, but...
I believe Christmas Evil was kind of like that, too, in terms of, like, it looked radically different once it, went from VHS to... And I don't really know, because you would think, transferring to VHS, you would think it would be the opposite, Bat. You think the contrast would be weak and it would get more washed out. I don't know why a lot of those film to VHS transfers. I guess it was like whatever telescene they were using at the time to scan it in or transfer it. That process darkened it down.
Well, I always saw it on, I don't know, because I think there was a few different VHSs of Christmas Evil, and I'd always seen it on that Brentwood.
Yeah.
Multi-pack, and it was watchable. It wasn't like, I think me and J-Dog covered it on EC, To All Good Night, and like I don't know if we did, I don't remember if we did a commentary or what, but I remember like we couldn't even make out the ending at all. Like, we didn't see what was going on. I'm like, how do you put this on a fucking VHS and be like, yeah, we're gonna put this out, like.
Yeah, I was lucky we'll get to No Man's Land in a second, but To All Good Night, I learned about it from EC, and I never seen it, and it was on Blu-ray from I can't remember, I think it was Kino Lorber, and I found out about it, like, right as it went out of print, and I literally hunted every single movie storefront on the internet at the time, and I found literally the last copy that Walmart.com had, and I got it just in time.
That was for To All Good Night?
Yeah, the David Hess one.
Why would you even want to see that that movie sucked? I think we got it across in the review that we thought it sucked. Like, I did.
Honestly,
I don't remember saying I liked it. And
without going down another rabbit hole, because we need to start talking about No Man's Land because everything important starting to happen. But it was really your personal, and this is like not a joke, this is actually your personal interaction with David Hess kind of made me a David Hess fan and made me want to collect his film. I actually, the other day while I was working, I threw on Last House on the Left and listened to the commentary track with Wes Craven and Sean S. Cunningham, and kind of half-ass watched it.
The Arrow Blu-ray?
No, it was MGM, and you
got the MGM one.
Yeah, I got the MGM one, and I was on that $5 train instead of the whatever Arrow video price tag was. But good little disc. They did the MGM Blu-ray for Last House on the Left when they were producing the remake, because there was like an interview separate with Craven where he was talking about the remake rights and shit. And so it wasn't like super old. It wasn't like they just poured it over some like old ass DVD extras. Like everything was pretty much created. I mean, they did port over some old shit from the DVD, but when they did the Blu-ray, it was like an effort to get, like, Craven was completely involved with it and everything. So it wasn't like the MGM is just bare bones shit, compared to the Arrow. The MGM is a special edition in its own right. So
no, I got the DVD and it's got a bunch of extras, and then there's another one that I think is MGM that has the Giallo style cover, which
has the black gloves.
Actually, No, that release is, as far as I'm concerned, it seems to be definitive because it has that Roy Frumkus, Wes Craven, like, film they tried to make or whatever. Here we got fucking
Quaid.
We're in the bar. Yeah, we need to get to the movie. We're in the bar with the other D.B. Sweeney's a fucking cop here, and we've got Quaid walks in, and I brought this up to you earlier about 86. The Sheen Machine and the Quaidmeister here were in The Wraith together, and Quaid's fucking playing a cop in that movie too, but it's a car movie. I mean, people, you call it a sci-fi, horror, whatever, it's a car movie.
Oh yeah, it's a car
like fucking
picture.
Fast and the Furious. It feels like Fast and the I feel like Fast and the Furious.
It was sponsored by a car company, The Wraith, like the Dodge Chrysler. It's a prototype.
Yeah, it's like a kit type car.
Yeah.
And actually, that's in some museum on display. I can't remember.
I know, it's worth a lot of money, too.
Yeah, but it's in a museum, so it doesn't matter. I think they've got a bunch of... They probably won't ever get rid of it. But there's a bunch of other movie cars in this museum. I think it might be in Ohio or something like that. Maybe New York. Somewhere out East Coast, so...
Yeah. Because I want to say it was called the Dodge Turbo Interceptor, but but it wasn't it's not really a real car. No, it was a prototype, and it was pretty much the only thing that was really truly prototypical about it was the body shape. The whole inside was fabricated for the But
they made it for the movie. Like the studio worked with the car company to design this car. Apparently, I think. I saw this on like a movie channel or something, and they had a whole thing about it being in that museum.
But what's funny is I want to say Jay Leno did an episode of a show where he like test drove it or something, but or at least went to go see it or whatever. But because it's a pretty famous car, but it's funny because it looks like a spaceship. But you can clearly, like, they still put the Dodge logo on the front. And it's like, well, what's the point if it's a car that was never going to be made? Why would it have a Dodge logo on it? But yeah, so basically the beginning of this movie is we had that undercover cop. He ended up getting shot, after he left the police station. It was total mystery. We didn't see who shot him. And then we were introduced to D.B. Sweeney. His real name is Benji. And we were kind of talking about whatever, David Hess, whatever. But did you notice back that there was that great tracking shot? They did pretty much like about an 80-second take of like introducing all his family members in a continuous shot. Mm-hmm. I thought that was like really good.
Thanksgiving dinner. Yeah.
And like you see him, he was working on an old Porsche. And
how do you know that was a tracking? How do you know that wasn't handheld and that cinematographer was just a beast?
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. It was whatever, Steadicam, handheld.
Yeah.
But it was just tracking through the. I really love that scene, and it's like a weird scene to talk about. But I love that the whole scene and the Thanksgiving dinner, like that whole scene is maybe 2.5 minutes, but like you learn so much about the D.B. Sweeney character, and it's important they introduce George DeZunda, very skinny George DeZunda, as his Uncle Mike, which will come into play later on in the film. But I just really like that because it's really like the only really warm scene, emotionally warm scene in what's otherwise a pretty, you know, kind of cold and slick movie.
Yeah, we get the great Bill Duke here. And,
Yeah.
I don't know. I recognize that fucking his like contact Sweeney at the garage here. I've seen him in something, but I don't know what it is. And you know what I was reading too? I don't want to give too much away. Maybe we're jumping ahead because I don't know where the fuck he is. But apparently Brad Pitt's in this movie.
Yes, he is. I will point him out. And he almost
he has lines though.
he doesn't. And
it said something about him fucking up. He must have had lines and they got cut. So this
the opposite. He was writing his own lines on the set, and that's what almost got him fired.
He wanted to be a star, and they were like, "No, you ain't a star. You were in was this around Cutting Class time?
This is before. This is 2 years before. He actually we'll get into it, but he needed a SAG card. This is considered actually his film debut, which I'm not really I'm not sure which was filmed, but he's also a party extra in Less Than Zero, although you can see him better in this film. But yeah, if he could have got on camera and said a line, they would have had to pay for him to kind of what do you call it? Introduce him into the SAG union. Yeah, the screen, like because he was just working on an extras contract, and he was trying to work his lines in with the actors, and you know, I mean, he was a waiter, so it wasn't like he was going to say anything like important anyway. Right. But yeah, they almost fired him. We'll get to it, and you can see where he's lingering around. I think he lingers in the back of a lot of shots trying to get his lines in. But yeah, so it's like basically Randy Quaid is convinced that Charlie Sheen is the murderer of the cop who got shot. So he puts D.B. Sweeney, whose real name is Benji actually, and like it's real easy to forget that because they don't go it. So they give him the fake name of Bill Isles, introduce him as a mechanic. And like you said, that contact guy who was in a lot of Michael Mann shit at the time, I believe he was in the film Band of the Hand.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so he gets him introduced, and like immediately they're like, oh, like go up into the hills. And, you know, the shop owner, Ted, he's straining up there, go up there, help him out with his car. And like, this is totally, Charlie Sheen was coming off Platoon, which I believe was another Orion picture. And like, they wanted to try and make him a star. So that's why they forced Charlie Sheen into this movie. And yeah, he totally.
But you know what he ain't coming off of right now? Cocaine, because he clearly. I'm pretty sure he's on cocaine during this.
He's very fresh faced though. Yeah, he's very fresh faced. Yeah.
No, I'm gonna go off on a limb, and I might sound like I don't know. I haven't been drinking that much. By the way, I'm having a nice screaming pumpkin ale. I don't know what you're drinking, sir, but
I'm drinking a fruit smoothie and water actually.
It's Friday night. What are you, soft? But I want to say, I think this is probably one of Charlie Sheen's greatest roles.
I agree.
It's great, man. I love it.
It's the first time he got to lean into a character that was really like himself, because like he was really great in Red Dawn and Platoon, but those characters are really not like his actual personality. This character is.
Yeah, Platoon is kind of an oddball. I mean, he gives a great performance in it, but no, this is just...
Yeah.
This is the Sheen machine in full swing.
Yeah, like to this point, without looking up his credits, he did Grizzly 2, which I believe was his very first movie, which never got released.
Yeah, never got... Well, it did, but not around the time.
But not for real.
Yeah.
They reshot a bunch of shit 30 years later. By the way, I love how he flicked that cigarette over D.B. Sweeney's head, and like the ash was like going in D.B.'s eyes.
I feel like that was him like, oh, you want to drive my car, huh, cocksucker?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, it was a real cocksucker move. It really was. It was on purpose. I bet you it wasn't even in the script. Charlie's just like, do this.
So, like, some interesting research about it. By the way, they're bonsaiing around Mulholland, which is like, you kind of have to have actually driven it to know how actually hairy, because it looks like they're kind of on some semi-straight, semi-curvy. Like, I'm telling you, like I hated driving around there going 40 miles an hour. I can't remember.
Oh, you didn't boost it like the scene. You didn't try to recreate No Man's Land.
No.
You're like, no, I'd be dead.
Well, it's you know, for where I lived and work, I like how they go around this Camaro. For where I lived and work, it wasn't a place. It wasn't a way to go that was really convenient. And the few times I did, I was kind of, you know, on an off day going from one side of town to the other and, you know, shooting through there that way. But like, yeah, like there's really no reason to go up there because it's just houses. Like there's really, it kind of connects like two sides of a hill. So you can use it to get to one side of the hill to the other. But it's like, there's really not a whole lot of reason unless you live up there to go up there. And obviously to see, you know, what you've seen in movies before, which is cool. But like, yeah, it just kind of sucks, like driving, honestly.
So what I learned from this scene is how to pass a car that's almost right on top of you. You just drive with both feet.
Yes.
And that's how you're able. Well, obviously you do because it's a manual.
It's a stick.
Yeah, it's a stick shift. So, but no, I mean him being able to use the brake and shit so quickly and everything. Like, I completely get it now, and I don't know if I'm gonna attempt it anytime soon, but
you could.
Yeah, we've got some shit like that, like some roads, but not quite. I wouldn't attempt that stuff on anything like that. I mean, you know,
I wouldn't really drive like that either, unless you like getting a new set of tires every 6 months.
Right.
That's like kind of like the false reality of these car movies that they never
you
tell
want to have brand new tires on that thing.
Yeah, like you're gonna like they probably just shooting that whole sequence bad. Like I bet they probably went through 3 sets of tires. In all honesty,
well, you'd have to because there's no way the car's gonna stick to the road if the tread's not like
perfect.
Primo. So yeah.
So here we have the kind of the snitch guy that helped him introduce. We find out that there's another gang of car thieves besides Charlie Sheen's gang, and like pretty much they never really go into it too much. Like they kind of just show you like Charlie Sheen stealing cars all the time, but really it's supposed to be kind of like a freelance thing. Like he owns a legit Porsche shop that does repairs, but he also owns a chop shop that pays people per car and then they chop it up. And basically, like from what I was getting from all the supplemental material was the reason this was like a big thing. Like at the time, LA was the car theft capital of the world, and Porsches in particular. And you can't really get away with this now because parts are tracked so easily in the computers and shit. But
it's harder to get, and I mean, this probably was. I bet this was all like real shit that they were doing.
It was.
And because Dick Wolf, what is that? He did Law and Order and shit like that.
He wrote this,
all this crime stuff.
He also worked on Miami Vice. Yeah, he was the showrunner of Miami Vice.
He's real hip with this crime stuff, so you know, it's accurate. You know, I always felt that there was accuracy to this, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, so basically the reason they're stealing the cars and chopping them up is back then. The parts were actually worth more than like if you stole the whole car and you were, you know, whatever you would try to sell a hot car for. Even if you like were to switch out the VIN number and all that shit, which you could do back then, and they do it to a couple cars in the movie, like the one he gives DB Sweeney, they do like that. But for the most part, like pretty much the inspiration for this film and what they're doing in the film is they're chopping it up and then they're basically selling these slightly used parts, these parts that have been on these cars for like a year or two, and they're passing them off as new at the dealerships and repair shops, and then also to anybody who's had.
We find that out. DB Sweeney says something about a water pump that already has like 1,500 miles or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't remember what it was, but I'm just like, how do you know? Like, how can you tell how many miles? It's got a fucking. It's not like it's got an odometer on it.
I know.
Dude, like I just put a water pump on my car. You know how I knew it had too many miles on it? Because it was almost falling apart. Well, not just, but it was a couple months ago. And the fucking thing was about like the wheel was about ready to come off. It was so worn out.
I mean, you can definitely tell a used part from a new part for sure, but to even guesstimate the miles on it.
But I think they were trying to show like DB Sweeney's like the car whisperer, like he's because we get that here. Well, we get that with the when Bill Duke's like, this car thinks it needs a tune-up, and he's like, this just needs to be adjusted. It'll take 15 minutes. But it sounded like he was like, but charge him for the tune-up.
That's exactly what he was saying. He's like, you fix this car in 5 minutes, but because he asked him, DB asked him, like, do you charge by the book? Meaning, like, when you get quoted or repaired, there's a book that estimates how long it should take, or do you charge by actual hours worked? And of course, like crooked places will always charge you by the book, because if the book says 3 hours,
well, most places. I mean, even today, most places. Charged by the book. That's just the way it is. Okay,
this is where we have to be on the. I think we already missed even the first appearance on, but this is where our boy Brad Pitt is lurking and leaning all over here. So he looks exactly like Brad Pitt does now, but he has a mullet, and he's in that background of that one scene. You can see his mullet in the background.
Okay, I can't see his face very well though. I saw his mullet though.
But the continuity's off because he's like popping in and around the room, if you notice. So that was the first appearance. I think he's out of frame right now. He's going to show up again here, making some drinks off to the side here in a second.
You're like noted all the time.
Oh, there he is again. Yeah, there he is. He's walking by.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that's his second appearance. Like all
he
this
looks
one
like a total douchebag in this.
He was just walking through the shots like non-fucking stop. You know what I mean? Because like I guess the producers or whatever figured probably like, oh, you wouldn't notice, like, all the whatever bartenders, waiters, whatever, like dressed the same. Maybe you'll think it's just like, multiple guys walking through, like, but once you actually, like, in the year 2022, you're keen to the idea that it's Brad Pitt, like he just sticks out like a sore thumb.
Right. Well, because he wasn't famous then, but he is now.
There he is again. You can see him good there. See him in the background. Yep. Oh, 2 drinks down on the table. 2 drinks. Yeah. There he is.
He's young as fuck there.
Yeah. So I'll point out the scene coming up that almost got him fired, where he was trying to work his bullshit lines in. But
this is his mullet is so fucking.
It's so good. He moved from Missouri with that mullet. This lady's hot though. That owns the club or whatever.
Oh yeah, with her tits. Yeah, you can see like side tits. Yeah. Anyway, there he is. You can really. See
Okay. This is see him talking. See him trying to get those orders in. He's pointing. He does a thing too. I think we just missed it, but he does a thing too where he touches his mouth and then he points to the person, which is a thing he still does to this day. A weird mannerism he still does today. So that was it right there. And the assistant director came running over and said, "If you say one more thing, like,
you're fired."
Yeah, you're fired. You're out of here.
Yeah, well, we talked about this some time ago, that only fucking mullets only look good if it's red hair.
Yeah.
You got to be a fucking redheaded stepchild.
You got to be what's the dude's name? Courtney Gaines, the Malachi.
Yeah. Yeah. Or old boy from Salute Your Shorts, he was in Terminator 2.
Yeah. Danny Hicksey or whatever his name is.
Yeah. Basically, he has the greatest, like, his mullet it looks cool, because it's like that flaming red Cheeto.
Mm-hmm. Imagine if you had a flaming red mullet, and like the end of the mullet tips, you dipped them in bleach, so like the last 2 inches of your mullet went from like fire red to pure white.
No, I'm platinum.
Yeah, platinum. So the guy with the mustache, he showed up earlier sweating the one guy who worked at the shop, and now he was just kind of briefly talking to Charlie Sheen. That guy is the actor's name is R.D. Call, I think, but I blank in on his name in the movie. But like he runs like the competing ring of car thieves, and like basically they have territories of like, okay, like it's known Charlie Sheen and his guys will work this side of town, but we work this side of town. And like basically what the conflict that's going to happen throughout the movie is Charlie's getting greedy. He just wants to steal cars from everywhere. So
I just noticed Archie's in this.
When
they're
like
walking
the
through the mall. Yeah, there's some kind of cookie.
But they're like
shop.
A weird downtown like dirt mall or something.
This doesn't exist anymore. We were talking about locations and this mall does. Do you think this is the same mall from later scene?
This isn't even really this isn't even a real shopping mall. This is like off the streets of like Hollywood Boulevard, or possibly even farther downtown, like actually downtown. This is just like you see these, like Emilio is at the first arcade he goes to in Nightmares. He's in one like that where it's like, I don't know what you call them. They're not really malls. They're like you just walking off the street and it'll be basically like a long alleyway of like, it's kind of like a swap meet. Yeah. Okay, yeah, here's the thing where Benji's like, oh, yeah, this pump has 14. I love Charlie Sheen. He just looks at the box. Oh, these guys, they're always playing pranks, and he throws the box away.
Just put it on the car and quit asking questions.
Exactly. And like I love it here that he's like, oh, you know, I need a new car thief. You want to make some money, Bill? But it's kind of slick how Charlie Sheen seduces DB Sweeney into the lifestyle of a car thief. He actually doesn't really, even though he's calling him out, you know, on like the stolen car parts right here. Charlie Sheen's kind of going like, oh, you know, whatever happens in the shop. It ain't a big deal. Yeah, like who cares? I mean, you got to understand too that this is like the greed is good 80s. Like everybody was probably pulling scams back then, you know what I mean? So like the way he kind of like gets him into stealing cars is he tells him we're going to do a repossession. It was one of our shop cars and somebody took it and didn't return it, you know. And like he tells him like, hey, I got the keys. So like, you know, like I think really DB Sweeney's not really thinking too much of it. He's just using it as an excuse to hang out with Charlie Sheen and get some more intel on Sheen. But it's really slick where he's like, yeah, I got the keys, man. Like, because like if you have the keys to a car, like, are you really stealing it? Like, that's kind of the logic. But then what's fucking awesome right here, Bat, is when he pulls out the ring of keys that has like 50 keys on it.
Well, DB Sweeney knows what's going.
Yeah. But it's like, you know, it's like this movie is like baby steps into this world, you know what I mean? And like we'll get to it as the movie progresses and everything. But like he really, it's not one of those movies like you see it in a lot of undercut. This is very subtle as an undercover cop movie. Like a lot of undercover cop movies have the guy waking up one day doing a bunch of drugs, like splashing water in his face, going, "Who am I?" You know what I mean? Whereas this is just kind of like very baby steps of breaking the law, and he's like, okay, like, you know, and the whole time he's telling DB Sweeney's telling Randy Quaid, like, I don't think Charlie Sheen's the murderer. Like he's pretty much covering for him the entire film, you know. He's like, oh, yo, Ted's a good guy. He wouldn't kill anybody. Oh.
Yeah, well, and also we get that scene when they're at that club, restaurant, whatever, earlier with Brad Pitt stalking around, where he makes, like, there's actually multiple comments where, like, we understand that Sheen's character is, like, against drugs and shit like that, which is, like, ironic because he's clearly coked up. Not his character. I mean, but I'm pretty sure.
But I think you're kind of doing the man a disservice. He's coked up, but he's a guy who he's keeping it on the down low in this movie.
Right. Okay. Well, this would have been perfect if he was like snorting lines too, instead of being like, So after school special, it's okay to steal Porsches, but it's not okay to do cocaine. Like,
well, I think he's more making fun of the people because he sees how bad the people are fucking up and kind of like screwing up all whatever their business is and shit. Like I think the one thing that's interesting about Charlie Sheen is the way it's kind of alluded to is Charlie Sheen's a criminal, but he doesn't have all this money because he's a criminal. He's actually a rich kid who went into the criminal life out of laziness. Which is pretty much Charlie's real story. I don't know if you know this about Charlie Sheen, but he was kind of rabble-rouser in high school, as you know, got his girlfriend pregnant, did whatever. So this was like back in the days of like credit card shit always being paper slips. So like literally in high school, him and his buddies, they went dumpster diving behind like a Macy's or something, some department store, and they got all the paperwork and the credit card numbers, and they started ordering shit up the phone with people's credit card numbers. That was his first brush with the law. And I mean, clearly Charlie Sheen didn't like need the money in real life because I mean his dad was Martin Sheen and everything, but like anything that was easy money he would go for. And I feel like that's what the character Ted is in this movie, and I think that's why Sheen kind of slipped into it. Like I think Sheen looked at the script and was like, shit, this could have been me, in real life.
This is me. Yeah. I bet too the reason he was doing stuff like that was probably because Dad wouldn't just fucking buy him whatever he fucking asked for either, so he like wanted a bunch of, he had to have a reason because like I don't know,
there was a time
Martin Sheen seems like a type of guy. It's like I worked hard for this. I almost died on the set of Apocalypse Now to get this money.
I always thought this was bullshit. This guy told me this stuff when I was a kid. I always thought it was bullshit till like later on in the internet age, and I looked it up and saw it was true. I don't know why, but for some time the Sheens in the 70s were they lived in Cincinnati, and this guy that owned this video store I went to, he actually played with them a lot when they were 5, 6, 7 years old. And like Charlie Sheen still is like he's a big baseball fan, but he's a big Cincinnati Reds fan still. But but yeah, like, and like he would tell me that like they were very much a normal family, like you would never know in a million years, like the way Martin and his mom, you know, like acting or whatever was kind of family business. But when they were kids, like they were like very much Martin Sheen was, because I think Martin Sheen kind of like came from nothing. Like I know he changed his name and tried to cover up, you know, his Hispanic heritage to get roles and stuff. And like I think he really tried to instill his kids. I mean, really all his, you know, their sister Renee, who was in acting too. She was in the film Intruder. But like,
and she was in something else, wasn't she?
I think so.
Oh, she was in Sleepaway Camp 2 also.
Okay, yeah, you're right. She kind of looked like Jennifer Aniston back then. It was weird. But like, yeah, like Martin Sheen really tried to instill like a sense of value and hard work. And like, as fucked up as like Charlie is, or I should say not is, but you know, throughout his life, like the guy has like a lot of qualities. If you watch old, especially his like earliest interviews, like he's a very like sensitive, in tune, very down to earth guy, very intelligent. I just think he's somebody who is partying. Because according to D.B. Sweeney on the interview, like he was pretty much like getting hookers even when they were filming this movie. So
really,
yeah.
I wish I'd listened to that. That would have been great. I know you said something about you were gonna check out the commentary.
Yeah, the commentary was good. It was just a couple of film historians, which I mean, it was. I actually like those commentaries now. I used to not, but like a lot of the foreign releases, like the UK import releases I have, are just various horror movies. They can't get anybody to do commentary, so they get like journalists and shit. And I kind of like those now. But yeah, they did do about a 15-minute interview with the director and the separate one, D.B. Sweeney. And D.B. like kind of like let it all out, you know, like not in a scandalous way. He talked really good about Charlie, but like he said, yeah, they were in a bar and they were talking to girls and stuff. And Charlie Sheen was like, "What are you wasting your time for, man? Like, well, I'll just call some girls and get them over." And like D.B. Sweeney's like, why? And he's like, and pretty much Charlie Sheen was telling them, it's like, because they'll leave when you're done. Like, you know, Charlie Sheen just wasn't about that shit. But I guess because we never talked about her character, Charlie's, or I should say, yeah, Charlie, but Ted's character, he has a sister who, this chick she was a model who got into acting. This is one of her few acting roles.
She's got a face.
Are you eating like candy or like what's going on?
I'm cutting some cheese, buddy.
Okay, cutting some cheese.
I'm getting me some couple slices of cheese. I was trying to be quiet.
Okay, no, that's okay. I'm just like, I'm hearing it sounded like Skittle bags. I'm like, oh, Skittle.
No, it's like a bag. And I'm getting another beer too.
Okay,
my beer's down, and now I'm having some Imperial Haze. IPA. Because
I'm going old school. I'm locked to a desk, so I can't even get upstairs to get to where my pizza is at. But you're going mobile. You're taking trips. Yeah, you're taking trips to the kitchen and everything.
At some point, I'll have to go out for a cigarette too. But I thought you were going with it, so I was like, "That's the perfect opportunity to go cut some slices of cheese."
But yeah, so they introduced the love interest for D.B. Sweeney, which is actually Charlie Sheen's sister in the film. Ted, his sister Anne, and like she's pretty much like a really like Harvard. I forget, it's not Harvard. I think maybe it's Yale. Either way, it's like an Ivy League. Yeah, it's like an Ivy League school that she's kind of home for the holidays from. I guess what I wanted to say was like the movie starts at Thanksgiving. And the last, you know, without going into spoilers, I mean, not that spoilers matter on a commentary, but the end scene of the film takes place the day after Christmas. So that's another thing too, is like before Shane Black was like rolling up into a ball to jerk off onto his own face bad about Christmas action movies, like this movie was one of the first ones I ever seen do it. Like I know Lethal Weapon came out the same year, which was a Christmas timed or themed action movie, but this was like one of the few.
But I want to say Lethal Weapon probably did better than this movie, box office wise.
Oh, yeah, this was actually a flop, unfortunately. Which really,
I saw that.
Because the tagline "I only steal Porsches" was pretty popular at the time, even though the movie wasn't. It was weird, but I think that was probably the most memorable thing in pop culture from this movie at the time. But yeah, like I want to say this cost around like $8 million, only made about $3 million. But it's kind of interesting too, because D.B. Sweeney, this was only his second movie I guess we should go into the backstory. Originally, there was going to be a different director, and he was clashing with the producers. So at the last minute, they got Peter Werner, who like I'm glad everything shook out the way it did. But D.B. Sweeney and the girl who plays Anne, Charlie Sheen's sister, they were like already cast, and then at the last kind of moment, they brought in Charlie Sheen to play Ted. And because they did that, because Orion wanted to push Charlie because they felt like his star was on the rise, D.B. Sweeney originally contractually had first billing, and credits and billing is like a big deal. So they were like, "Oh, Charlie's coming. Would you mind being second billed?" And D.B. Sweeney was like a cool guy, so he's like, "Yeah, I don't care, whatever." But his agent was like, "Are you serious? Like, don't be a dummy." He's like, "I'll get you something, for them changing the credits around like this." And he's like, "Okay, like ask him to get me a rental car for like while we're filming." He's like, "No, idiot. Like I want to get you something good." So D.B. Sweeney was contracted to star in this movie for $50,000. Like, that's just to tell you, like, there's like a lot of people that even starred in movies back then that you never hear of now. It's like, yeah, they might have starred in movies, but they never really made real money. So like, his agent negotiated to his salary to go from $50,000 all the way up to $125,000 just from going to be in second build. So.
I wanted to mention we got a dude from summer school here listening to some fucking speed metal.
Yeah, summer school has the great Toby Hooper Chainsaw Massacre fans, Chainsaw and Dave. This is Dave from summer school.
Yeah, and he pretty much was the same character.
Yeah, like even the wardrobe, right? Isn't the wardrobe even the same?
Yeah, it looks like he walked from one set to another. Literally.
I'm trying to think. No, yeah, I think that was a different studio. I was gonna say maybe it was the same studio, maybe he just went over. But yeah. So he basically.
You got that Blu-ray, by the way? Who put that out? Came out.
Shout Select. I got it like 2 weeks ago. Believe it or not.
Oh, did you? When I saw this, I was watching this again. I was like, man, I need to get the summer school Blu-ray. What am I waiting on?
I mean,
sleeping on that shit.
Yeah, like I think I got it on sale for maybe 14 or 15, but I have the OG Paramount DVD, and it's actually not bad looking for a DVD. It's really.
I have that DVD.
Yeah, it's really not bad looking for a DVD, I gotta say. But yeah. So basically, Dave here, Malcolm, which is Bill Duke's character who runs the Porsche shop, he says like, "Oh, like I'll have a guy drive you over to the thing, You boost the car for us tonight," and like he does, but like he kind of bumbles the breaking into the car, and which by the way, I got to mention a bit of trivia. In the UK, they cut all these scenes out of how they actually break into the cars, which
makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, like by the time it got to DVD or whatever, they put it back in. But in the UK, in the theaters and on VHS, they didn't show these scenes of them how they actually did it. I guess because they were afraid it was going to spread, car theft or whatever. But yeah, like they bungle the thing, and like the dude Dave just gets scared and like runs off. So he basically leaves him there. D.B. Sweeney was going to end up getting busted, and like I don't think it's him, but check him out when the security guards run up here in a second. Yeah, like the bald-headed black dude, he kind of looks like the gang member guy from Friday Part 3, but I don't think it's him because I think it's too short to be that guy. But
I thought he kind of looked like Scatman Carruthers.
He kind of looks like him too.
So anyway, I always thought about, because I love this movie, and since I got that VHS, of course, I had watched it like a ton of times, and now we're revisiting it here because you were like, "Oh, let's do this." I'm like, "Shit, I haven't seen this in a while," but I always wondered why people liked Porsches and like. Why they make this whole movie about them stealing Porsches? And I was like, then I was cleaning this house during the summer, and he had like a brand new Porsche 911 in the garage, and I was like, oh yeah, I don't know, like it looks dangerous, like if you get into an accident, because I was like looking in the back, I'm like, there's no room in the back seat for passengers really, but yeah, man, it hits top speeds of 182 miles per hour, so like I get why people like this car. It's fast.
Yeah, like I'm not really, like I was telling you the other day, I'm not really a car guy. I just kind of really only like Porsches. And it's because of this movie, and it just, I don't know, there's something about him, especially from that time period. I've actually looked at a couple, I almost pulled the trigger a couple times
on a 911 Carrera.
No. Just the like old shit, like 924s. I'll probably get like a 924, but like,
well, they had them. I mean, they stole a Carrera 911 Carrera here. I mean, they were making them back then too. They just have a little. They're not really. They haven't really like changed much. I mean, a little slightly, but they're pretty much, even the modern ones are not much different.
They pretty much only steal 911s, I think, in this movie. But like, which I would love to have 911. Don't get me wrong, but like, I think it's the 924, the one that has the pop-up headlights. Like, it looks like really different. And it kind of has like the bubbly rear end.
That's Ted's. Doesn't that have the pop-up? The silver one that they're driving around in?
I think it does, but I think that might still be like a 911. But if you look at The Hidden, that movie with Kyle MacLachlan, he drives one. The one Tony Montana had in Scarface. Also, they have a black one in Weird Science.
Not a 911. You're saying?
Yeah, I want to say they're 924s. I should have looked it up, but
the 914 only goes 118 miles per hour. That's probably why it's a lot cheaper if you're looking at something like that. But I don't know, the 914, I don't know if that does not look like a make in this movie. But it does.
The 924 is what I want. Yeah. The
914 does have pop-up lights as well, but I don't think that these ones look older that I'm seeing online. Yeah. So
924 around 83 to I think 86, they had a certain look I really liked. They really don't even look like that sporty, but I like them. But I mean, I actually looked at some 911 Boxsters, some basic Boxsters that like had like a lot of miles on them before COVID drove up the price. Like, and there was some that were available for like $12,000 that had like salvage titles and shit. Like, you can't really drive those as a daily driver, and you got to put money into them every year. But like, yeah, like I don't know. But they're kind of dried up now. Like, I think with cars getting scarce over the pandemic, like I don't really when I look online, I can't really find them anymore. There's always,
or people just don't want to sell, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, basically, from what I understand from reading around the Porsche stuff, is basically everybody wants one, so they get one, and and everybody buys like a used one because you can afford it. And I mean, like the new ones, they're all like $100,000 or more. And pretty much everybody keeps them for about 6 or 7 years, and the novelty wears off, and all the maintenance you got to keep up on them and stuff.
The novelty wears.
Yeah, and then so like there's a lot of Porsches that really haven't been crashed, or they have very minor body damage, but they've had 6 or 7 owners just because everybody, like, there's always the original owner who like was the guy who had the money, and he put like 50,000 miles on it within like 5 years, and then after that, like, everybody else gets it and babies it and drives it like 2,000 miles a year. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
yeah.
And then it just keeps. But we got to get back to the movie here. So Charlie Sheen comes in.
We weren't too off topic. I mean,
no,
we're staying within the realm of the film, I think.
Yeah, we weren't going into David Hess territory. But,
at the beginning.
So like, yeah, so Benji got arrested. Bill Ayers, D.B. Sweeney. And of course, the Randy Quaid just bailed him out or whatever. But he had to make up a story that like, oh, I actually got away. But like, another thing that happened when the security guards were detaining him, they just like handcuffed him to a car, and like one of the competitor thieves came up and sliced his hand open with a box cutter. Yeah. Say, hey, you shouldn't be stealing cars here, and punched him in the gut and shit. So like they're ramping up the rivalry between the Porsche thieves, and then basically he got some sympathy. Vagina from Charlie Sheen's sister, and then Charlie Sheen popped over in the morning, saw them all, and I like the joke that hey, my robe looks better on you than it does me, because he's wearing Charlie Sheen's robe. But there was a great scene, like, again, and like the dudes who did the commentary pointing out too how good Charlie was back then. I mean, Charlie's probably good now if you gave him a good script, but that scene where he's sitting there and he's taking it in, he realizes that D.B. Sweeney's there, and he's banged his sister, and that's happening. There's that shot where he's at the table bat, and he's like, yeah, I like they're kind of like, they're nervous, like, oh, how is Charlie going to react to this? But he's like, yeah, I like this. This is domestic. Hey, we should have a party here for Christmas. Like, I thought that was just a great moment just from his character. Like, this character, it's like, he's not like an open book, but there's little character moments throughout this, because this is really more like a drama. A lot of people call it an action film or a car film, but it's really not. It's really a drama with little bits of action kind of spread throughout it. But I like Charlie's character because you can kind of see that, like, there's a lot of them. He's not just like an edgelord. He's not just a guy who just does dangerous shit and like is living on the like he's having a good time living this lifestyle and being a criminal who gets away with it. But at the same time, like, he enjoys normal human things. You know what I mean? He's not like a cartoon character.
Well, he is a rich guy too, so like that's another thing you talked about earlier. Like his character's like this rich guy who doesn't really need the money, but there's some kind of thrill. Obviously, it's just like anybody. Like, I know people that have got money that go to the store just to, like, they'll shoplift, even though they can buy it, you know, because they like the thrill of it and everything, and like, I don't know, the risk, and it's fun. And I never really.
Nah,
that's other things, but like not so much stealing stuff or anything like that, you know. Yeah,
like it's I would think too, stealing shit for the thrill of it is something that's, you know, it's going to bite you in the ass eventually.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's good. Well, I don't know now. They've changed a lot of the laws, especially in California. You can just walk out of a store and they're not even allowed to ask you to listen. But that's a whole different topic. But yeah, this scene here when they came out of the store, you know, he's seducing D.B. Sweeney's character even more, buying him nice clothes. Like, hey, like, I want you to dress nice. He goes out, buys him a flashy wardrobe,
but that was a setup so he could use that to it didn't look as suspicious when they stole the car during the day. But I just love how they're breaking the fucking the locking mechanism, the steering wheel, and he's got the ignition that he fucking carrying in the bag and shit. But yeah, it became clear that at first you were like, oh, these guys are bonding, but it was all just a front so that he could have the ignition in there and the fucking little lock, you know, the stick down the window and stuff in the bag, and it was just a front.
Yeah, and like that scene where they walk out of the store and DB's like, oh, what about this? I think it's a Ferrari. And Sheen goes, Italian trash. I only steal Porsches. That was probably the most famous dialogue for sure. I remember
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I remember when we walked out of the theater, it was like good old Erlanger, Kentucky, Showcase Cinemas. It was like this like 12-screen theater that had a parking lot. I'm not shitting you, bat. Like, it could have been the parking for a baseball stadium. It was probably like 4,000 spots. It was huge. Like, we were walking to the car, and like we hit this like weird GMC station wagon or some shit. And I remember we always called it the Dragon Wagon. And we were getting in the car. My dad looked at me and said, I only steal Dragon Wagons.
So you saw, how old were you? This came out in 87.
So my birthday's like around, in June, so yeah, I was 10. Yeah.
And you know, you get that great look, you know, this is really Christmassy too, because you get like a Santa Claus there smoking a cigarette and shit. No, this is the mall from Nightmares, right? Is this the one?
No, this is a different one. This is the Westfield Pavilion. The one from Nightmares is the one that's like all red brick. With this,
but you've been to this? Have you been to this one?
I haven't been to this one. I don't even know if it's still there, to be honest with you. I'm not sure. But the way this mall looks now is actually like that color scheme. That's actually how the Nightmares Mall looks now. It's weird.
Cool.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think that says a lot about why I love this movie. Is I saw it when I was 10, and like when I moved to LA. I guess I should say too, like, Charlie Sheen was a big influence on me in my early 20s when I was taking acting classes and shit. Like, I kind of even resembled him a little bit when I was young and thin and had the spike haircut and all that. So like, I stole a lot of his mannerisms and line deliveries and shit when I was doing scenes and acting classes and stuff. But he was my favorite for. I love you can see it's Sheen's double. He's not even in the car there. But like, it's D.B. Sweeney, but it's not Sheen.
Yeah, I gotta go to the bathroom and snort some lines of coke off the sucker's ass. So
exactly. So I'm gonna be there. Which he did get injured making this movie, and we'll talk about that scene when we get there. I think it's actually in this scene.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
No, is it? Oh, it is.
I think it is the scene where he got injured. But no, but I was just saying, like, I was a big Sheen head, and like when I moved to LA, I went, and this was like 2004, maybe early 2005. I wanted to decorate my room with movie posters, so I bought a bunch. Like, this is back when you could get movie posters for cheap off eBay. Mm-hmm. I got a Van Damme Cyborg one sheet. I got a Jim Carrey Once Bitten one sheet. And I got a No Man's Land one sheet, and this is probably actually my favorite one sheet of all time.
You're that hardcore? Oh yeah, the one where it kind of looks like a drawing. It must be. It's
like a montage, and it's a huge. It's almost like a standee of Sheen from the waist up, and then on to the side it has the smaller photos.
It's kind of got a Miami Vice look.
It does. Like when you see it in person, Bat, it pops so much in person. Like pictures don't even do it justice because the border is kind of.
Look,
you really
should.
On eBay I looked on eBay. You can still get one for about 20 shipped, I believe.
Well, that's about average, I'd say. Yeah.
I think I probably paid 10. Whatever, 15 years ago.
I'll get it for 10. You watch me.
Oh, I believe it. Okay, so these shots
for the deals.
Yeah, okay. Watch when Sheen runs up against the shot here where he's standing against the pillar and the squib is blowing up. That's where it
exploded.
Yeah, because they waited too long. They shifted the shooting schedule around, and the squib hardened too much, so that when it blew out, it wasn't like soft putty anymore. It was like hard, and like
shrapnel.
Yeah, like it nicked his thing. It nicked his neck. Supposedly not that bad, but also like you always see that it just cut him. But I also read one other place that he actually was deaf in one of his ears for like 3 or 4 weeks after that.
I think it was 4 weeks, yeah.
So they kind of shut down shooting for a while, and were shooting pretty much everything that they could without Charlie Sheen. This Blu-ray
goes for a lot. Holy shit,
it does, dude. That's what I'm saying. Kino didn't have it in print for very long. I mean, I snapped it up. I think I pre-ordered it. Let me see if
this. Yep, this is the Kino. Look, this fucker's going for like $90. See, sealed on eBay right now. No, this isn't even. No, this is like new. It says that's not even sealed.
I have to say, like if I didn't have a copy, I would probably go $40 used.
Yeah,
on a used copy.
Dude, it's average. A sealed copy is about $75. Yeah. This is dude. No, but I can get the movie poster. Listen to this.
So, tell me how much the poster.
Yeah, $16 ship, $8 and $8 shipping, dude. Right now, very fine. This fucker, and dude, it is an original folded. Exactly. My god! So I told you I'd get it for cheap. I told you.
You told me, and I believed you. You're gonna love it, dude. If you end up getting it, like especially when you put it up.
I probably. This looks nice, and I love that. Yeah. So, this is probably got to be... So, it sounds like this is your favorite Charlie Sheen movie. I mean, this and The Wraith are probably my favorites. I do like Rated X.
Oh, I love Rated X. The other one that I was...
Gotten a Blu-ray yet, has it?
No, I think it's stuck on like a non-anamorphic DVD, if that. And I think I would try...
And that's out of print, too.
Oh, yeah, because I was looking for it not too long ago, and I couldn't find one. But
I've got a shitty rip of it because I could never find that DVD ever, and I think I had a recording off of Showtime.
Okay.
Back in the day for like the longest time, so.
But I want to shout out the Kino Blu-ray of this. It looks really good. Like it looks really good, but it looks very film-like and accurate. It's got good detail. The only time there's really like excessive grain is like during like a couple of like the nighttime shots, and it's very brief. So like whenever they scan this in, I'm sure it was probably only a 2K scan at the time, but they used the good scanner. You know what I mean? It wasn't like some of those early ones that like looked like shit when they scanned it in. Like it really, like this looks like if Arrow put this out and restored it and put it out on Blu-ray, like it would look the same. You know what I mean?
This poster has a make an offer. I should lowball this guy for $5 for the domain.
Lowball him, and then
yeah.
Well, because the thing is,
regardless, I could still buy it even if he like doesn't answer, or like sometimes they'll be like, "I'll give you $1 off," and it's like, okay, well, I'll still grab it for $7. No, this thing is pristine. It doesn't even have any tack holes or.
Exactly.
I don't know if it was not hung. I mean, I run across these posters, retro ones, that sometimes they're like, I don't know, for whatever reason, they never even hung the poster. Like, was that common back then that they would just? I imagine it probably wasn't in theaters very long because it did.
Yeah,
really
it was
well,
only out for a couple of weeks. But I think you know what I think it don't have holes in it. Shit, Bat is I think the way a lot of the displays did was they would open them up. Like I remember some of the theaters like around me, like it was basically like they would just press it in with the glass. And it'd be like a latch, so like there'd be no reason to put holes in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because the only ones that you really see that have the pinholes in them are the ones that are like the really shitty B movies that played like the terrible theaters where they did like just tack them up on a wall somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
Have any nice cases?
Yeah. But if it was a theater with glass case,
there's like behind the scenes.
Yeah, but I guess we should talk about this. Is like actually the main action scene of the film here, and this is I keep blanking on the guy's name, the guy that R.D. Call plays, but they basically, this is retaliation for going in on the man, what's with IMDb and expired it's like I'm just trying to look at the Frank Martin, that's the guy which I think Frank Martin is the name of the transporter, but like yeah, it's a pretty top notch like car chase. Like they go through all these different parts of LA, and it's like the only time where they really cheat the locations because they're going from like Beverly Hills to like City of Industry and shit, but it all works. They end up in this like burnout factory, and it's a lot of people say it's ridiculous because the car that the competitors are in, they're like like a Z28 Camaro, and they're saying, oh, that would never keep up with that Porsche, which like I get it, but I mean, come on, it's a movie. But also too, they're in traffic though, yeah. So they can't really like, they can't let it out completely. But I like that scene too, where they were parked hiding in like the burnout factory, and just out of nowhere, like it's like a quiet moment. It's really tense. Like they're waiting for the guy to drive by to see if he notices them. And Charlie Sheen starts chewing a stick of gum. He's like, "Oh, I met this girl. She's so beautiful. She's got the best tits or whatever."
So they also have this French poster on here. They want a lot more for it.
I saw that
red
one.
Porsche that they were trying to. It says 260 chrono. I don't know what the fuck that is. That like what No Man's Land means in French? I don't know, but.
Well,
it's got the red Porsche that they try to. It seems like the same Porsche that D.B. Sweeney tried to steal. Right? Isn't it?
Yeah, the red one. Well, I
was trying to steal when he got his hand cut.
No, that was the silver. I think that was the silver one he was trying to steal. Okay, Charlie Sheen was trying to steal the red one when the guy shot at him. Yeah.
You know why I thought it was the same? Because it's the same shot of the security system, though.
Right.
It's the same fucking, because it's the same security system.
It might be the same car though, because like. DB was talking on his interview. The thing about the cars in the movie was it was a real mixed match of cars because some cars they had didn't look very good, but they ran good. But he said some of them looked really good, but like they ran like shit and you couldn't do much with them.
They weren't fast.
Yeah. And like they were just breaking down and stuff. So like,
well, didn't he have a red Porsche? Didn't he get given the red Porsche? I thought it was like the same fucking one.
It's the end of the scene. He'll see it. He's going to give it to him.
Yeah. But no, I'm saying that Porsche that they were going to steal, isn't it the same one as the one he was getting? It's not. I mean, not in the plot, but I'm pretty sure it's the same car. Like.
It looks like it because when Charlie Sheen's breaking into it, you don't really see the front or the back. You just see the kind of the door and the roof. So it might be, but continuity wise, No Man's Land cinematic universe wise, it's actually supposed to be the black one that he stole from his first repossession that they repainted.
Yeah,
and change the serial numbers on.
You know what you need? They've got these fucking 35mm slides. Promo photos on here. They got that one that's on the poster of Charlie Sheen standing there. That's on the poster. Yep, that's here too, man. But they want like $30 for it. So.
Well, there's somebody who has a script on there, and they scanned in about 10 pages. I wanted to talk about this. I read the beginning of the script, of the original script, and I forget what the guy wants, but it's like ridiculous. It's like a couple $100. But you can tell it's the OG script because it's different. It's written by Dick Wolf, which there had to be rewrites, and I can't remember. I don't think anybody else is really credited as rewrite, but I think the director and maybe other people did rewrites because the opening of the movie and the script, because I went through and zoomed in on the pictures and read it the other day. The opening was...
You're hardcore.
I am hardcore. The opening was so different. It was two girls... Nah, this is a different one, Bat, than the one he was trying to steal, because this one has the leather, like, T-top roof, where the one Charlie had the canvas top that, like, rolled back, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the original script was two girls out in Van Nuys, which, why it was in Van Nuys, I don't know, because that's, like, a shitty part of town, even was back then. But two girls, high school girls, they're, like, 17, they're drunk, they come out of a house... They get into a Porsche, they start smoking a PCP-laced cigarette, and they take off in the Porsche, and they're, like, having fun. And, like, some guy rolls up in a Camaro and is like, oh, you want a drag race or whatever? And they're like, yeah, sure, like, you can't keep up with us. So, like, they peel off, and they go down the street, and they end up wrapping the Porsche around a telephone pole. And then they both die, like a horrible death. The two girls both die. And then the movie starts with Randy Quaid coming up and like investigating it because the car is stolen, and so that's how he starts investigating the. So I don't even know if the original script even had the cop getting shot. I think that was a rewrite. You know what I mean? The undercover cop getting shot.
I'm not seeing this script. It must have sold a couple $100 for original. Like, if this isn't even the original shooting script, and it's like an original early draft, it's probably worth what that guy. If it was just like a couple $100.
Yeah, I mean,
and
it was.
Seeing how diehard you are.
If it was $50, dude, I own a couple scripts.
Here it is. Here it is. Yep. 1986, No Man's Land. $300. Let's see if there's a make offer. Hold on.
$300 will offer $5. No.
Dude, with something this high, look, I've done this before. Message the dude and be like, do a bargain with him and see, like, he probably ain't gonna let this fucker go for less than $250.
The movie wizard, yeah. He's got a lot of script. Okay, he's got the Stars Born script, $656. Come on,
looking
dude.
at
it's a fucking script.
yeah, but you're basically saying this No Man's Land is like a different.
It is.
This is not the shooting script. This is like a different draft. Like
this was the revised draft from May 3rd, 1986. They went into production the week of Christmas, 1986, so there was a good 6 months they had to rewrite this thing.
What else has he got here?
He's got a lot of shit.
He's got the Lone Ranger.
Which one? The 1980 Lone Ranger one?
No, 1956. I don't know if it's for a TV show, for one of the episodes, or if there was a movie.
But you know what's awesome about the No Man's Land script, Pat, is I love that Blue Orion Pictures Corporation cover that it's got on it.
Yeah, see, that's why you're gonna go buy fucking Tarman for $100. This figurine.
Well, I didn't quite.
You're never even gonna do anything with. It's gonna collect dust.
But I should pay double to get the No Man's Land script. Bat's booping out here a little bit. But getting back to the movie, yeah, D.B. Sweeney, he gets his free Porsche from Charlie Sheen. He drives home, and his girlfriend, Charlie Sheen's sister.
This, dude.
Yeah. You want me to buy the script on air, Bat?
I want you to buy the script and not buy that Tarman figurine, damn it.
Well, I'm not 100% to be honest with you, like, I had looked at the Tarman when it was first announced, and I had the boner for it. But when you looked at it the other day, you're like, I don't know, dude. This is like, I looked at the picture. I looked at the pictures again. I'm like, yeah, this is like a $60 figure.
Yeah, that's what I said when I looked at it. I was like, dude, when you look at that Otis figure with the lantern that lights up, and you're like, well, what the fuck is this? Yeah. Like, this thing better suck my dick for $160, you know?
Yeah. I could go down a rabbit hole of Trick or Treat Studios.
The script is cool, man. Like, that's so cool. Unique. Yeah.
The dudes in Van Nuys, if I still lived out there, I probably could have met up with him in person, see if he knocked any money off for picking up in person. All right, we got to talk about Charlie's best acting moment where he finds Bill Duke shot dead. This is a great reaction. It's almost like Platoon level acting of Charlie Sheen.
Bill Duke's dead on the toilet, Elvis style.
Yeah. But when you're asking me if this is my favorite Charlie Sheen movie, I mean, it probably is. But the other one that I'm just so high on, dude, like I watched it so many times on DVD and then eventually the Blu-ray as well, is I love The Boys Next Door. Although I do think his it's not even that his acting is better in this, it's just he has a better part to play in this. But
Wraith's good, but it's not because of him.
The Wraith is good, but it's like I'm trying to think like Kevin Bacon could have played that role and the movie would have been just as good. You know what I mean?
Anybody could have. They could have brought Brad Pitt in to play it, and it would have, because he's not really. It's not really him. He's kind of the star, but he's not. Like, I don't know. Randy Quaid is not. I don't want to say he's the star. He's a star. He's not even really a co-star in this movie. He's like a supporting. Yeah. Whereas Quaid's actually like more of a star in Wraith than Charlie. I think they've got about the same amount of screen time.
Well, also too, I mean, without getting the spoilers for the Wraith, is like a lot of the flashback scenes and shit. Like they had to get the other guy to play Charlie's character, so it's like
Charlie probably was there for like 5 days. Seriously.
Well, yeah, because he literally all he does is he has the scenes with who was in that, Sherilyn Fenn, looking amazing by the way, but like all his scenes are just the romantic scenes with Sherilyn Fenn, and like that's it. And it's
they're at like a pool, or is it a lake or something? I think it's a pool.
It's a lake in like Arizona or somewhere.
Yeah, that's like. Yeah, and then there's just a handful of stuff, but like all the other scenes, I don't even know if he was, when he had the helmet on, if he was even that
wasn't Charlie.
Stand-in.
But Charlie actually gives I mean, I'm not trying to crap on the Wraith at all. It's a fun movie for what it is. It's just a movie I'm not like crazy about. It's a movie I watched a lot on cable as a kid,
but and you own it. You're that crazy. I mean, I don't even own it. I want to own it, but that fucking Vestron, I passed it up.
Okay, this is how much I own the Wraith. Okay, I bought the special edition DVD that came out during the Blu-ray era, and I'm like, oh, it's a DVD. It looked kind of crappy. It looked processed.
I already had the original. You don't have the original.
I don't have the original.
I did buy the original DVD.
I have the Italian import blue that came out years before the Vestron. I got that. I paid like $22 for that. I was disappointed with the way it looked. The Vestron came out. I got that. I'm like, it doesn't look that much better. I'm just like, I don't know. Like, it's just an okay movie. Like that's one of the ones that I liked it more when I watched it on cable as a kid than I do now. Where No Man's Land I actually like better. Like, even though I loved it as a kid, I like it more now because there's so much. Like, No Man's Land is an hour and 46 minutes, and it's like 80% of the runtime is just character building scenes between D.B. Sweeney and Charlie Sheen, D.B. Sweeney and Randy Quaid, D.B. Sweeney and the girlfriend. Like, there's like, you get invested in the characters in this, whereas like even though Charlie didn't have, like, you added up Charlie's screen time in minutes in Red Dawn, it's not a lot. The scenes he's in are very impactful. The Wraith, he's just like, I don't want to say he's sleepwalking in, like he's doing a bad job. There's just nothing for him to do in that fucking movie.
It's not about him. He's not really the star. I feel like they were like, yeah, you're gonna get, top billing and stuff, but he's not the star of the movie at all. Yeah. So actually, the brother is the star of the movie of that one. So.
The brother and Sherilyn Fenn are the stars of the movie.
Yeah.
It's a good movie, though. I don't want to shit on it. But it was weird, though, because I remembered it, and I remember when I was in college, it was, I can't remember what movie it was, but it was when I was Sheen crazy, and there was some Charlie Sheen movie. It might have been Red Dawn, and we were talking to some buddies about it, and they're like, oh, you know what the best Charlie Sheen movie is the Wraith, and like, I had seen the movie, and I remember Charlie Sheen was in it, but I didn't remember the title because I hadn't seen it since it was on cable when I was a kid. And it's like, and then finally when I saw it again on TV a couple years later, I was like, oh yeah, like I know this movie, like because like specifically as from a kid, I remember the scenes, the flashback scenes where they killed him or whatever. But yeah,
I wanted to bring up how this movie seems very obviously. This comes before, but it seems like the creators of Deep Cover.
Yeah,
this got a deep cover feel to it, where D.B. Sweeney's kind of losing himself in his undercover, which, you know, you read a lot about undercover cops. I mean, Donnie Brasco, shit like that. They kind of get too deep into it, so.
Which I don't think is a coincidence at all, because let me do my homework real quick here, but
I hear you typing away, and you're looking at them. You're on the mother computer here.
So this is what I thought. I think the reason Deep Cover bears such a resemblance to this film is Deep Cover is directed by our boy Bill Duke. So.
Oh really? Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay, so Bill was like, I love this story so much, I'm gonna remake it but better.
Yeah, I'm gonna remake it with Lawrence Fishburne. And I'm gonna get Snoop Dogg. I'm gonna discover Snoop Dogg to do his first song.
Did you get that Blu-ray?
Yes, and I made not a TikTok, but I made a short YouTube video where I talked about it, and I recommended the film highly to people because I told people that Deep Cover is an amazing film because it portrays Jeff Goldblum very convincingly as a drug kingpin, and you know he's a convincing drug kingpin because he has slick back hair in it.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's probably one of Goldblum's top 5 for me. I would say, so.
That it's right under when he wore the Archie hat in Death Wish.
Yeah, it was the Jughead rapist version of Jughead.
Yeah, the Jughead. Yeah. Which like when you watch that movie, and obviously nobody thought this at the time, but now that you look back, you know who Goldblum is. Like you're totally like you wish that character was in it more. Like you wish the ending of the movie was Bronson, you know, fighting Goldblum Jughead.
I just want to follow the rapist Jughead around in his own film. It's just like the dude. He was in The Stand, but he was also in Toxic Avenger, the little taco restaurant scene. The dude with the painted face. I want to see a movie of him, and it'd be great if rapist Jughead, and him got together and did a movie together.
Yeah. So pretty much this is Sheen's career. Like there's a few TV movies in like there's literally a TV movie 85 where he plays the man shaving. Like what the fuck is that? But it's like Grizzly 2 didn't come out. His first real movie was Red Dawn. Then Boys Next.
Was that his debut? Was Red Dawn? I didn't realize that.
I mean, it's not. Well, yeah, like
technically.
He was in some shit, his dad's shit as a kid, just like Emilio was as an extra, which, you know, you don't count that. But Red Dawn is technically his introducing credit.
Did he play like a Vietnamese child in Apocalypse Now, or?
I think Emilio is. I could be wrong. Emilio might be in No, he was in Badlands. Charlie in Badlands. Oh, okay. Charlie played the boy under lamppost. And then the Execution of Private Slovak was a TV movie, which I believe was a Martin Sheen movie as well, TV movie. He played the kid at the wedding. Then he played Lance. Yeah, he played Lance in Grizzly 2. Then Red Dawn. Then The Boys Next Door. Then Lucas. Then the episode of Amazing Stories. Then the cameo Ferris Bueller's Day Off. The Wraith. Platoon. Wisdom, which is a cameo. Then that movie 3 for the Road, and then No Man's Land. So like No Man's Land is still pretty early in his career. Like I think he was 22 when he made it.
At some point he was in Lucas, where he Criscoed Ames' butthole.
Yeah, I don't believe that for a second.
Allegedly.
Alleged by somebody who I don't know what you don't
trust that guy. Any guy that dresses like Michael Jackson. You can't trust them.
Put it this way. I mean, anything's possible in this world, Bat. But I would take Haim's mom's word. I love the zoom in on Charlie's face because they're going through the discos, and he's trying to find Frank Martin to murder him, and he's got DB watching his back. Which is funny because Charlie gives DB like the Beretta 9mm, and then he has like a fucking 2-shot Derringer that he wants to murder
but
RD
he wants
Call
it
with.
to be quiet, and
Yeah.
it is super quiet. I was like, oh, no one noticed because
They just kept dancing. Yeah.
Yeah. They're all coked up. They didn't notice.
I think this club was in a lot of movies too, because it almost looks like the club that was in Less Than Zero as well, but it's probably a different one. But yeah, like I love this scene where he's just taking the drag off the cigarette, and then he throws the cigarette in the drinks that the girl's carrying by. He just goes up and shoots Frank Martin, because like basically the story he gave DB was like, just watch my back. I'll give you a gun. You won't have to do anything. It's just for my own protection. Like DB Sweeney doesn't even know that Charlie Sheen is like packing this little Derringer in his pocket. But he tells him, like, I got to find, Frank, and I got to, like, just talk to him to basically get a truce. This is getting out of hand or whatever. But he really goes to murder him, and he's got DB Sweeney watching his back. But he sends him away to be like, oh, check downstairs, see if he's downstairs, and then he goes up and murders him. But, yeah, like, this hot chick just keeps dancing. She was, like, 1 foot away, this guy getting shot. It's like,
she was dancing with him.
That's what I thought. I thought. But...
At, like, earlier when when him and DB were talking, looking around.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. If that script wasn't $300, man, I'd snatch it up. If it was $200, I would grab it.
I don't think I could do it at $200. I think for $100,
I could do it at $200. Let's go halves on it, brother. We'll throw 150, 150. Like, come on.
I don't know, dude.
Listen, you're getting nervous. You're gonna buy that fucking Tar Man, and now you're like,
Stop saying I want to buy the Tar Man, dude.
You were thinking about it.
I have not
thinking about it.
When I saw the new photos, I was kind of like, yeah, it's just kind of like a hunk of plastic. It's not really.
It looks about as good as NECA. Sort of, but like it's like paying $150 for a NECA figure.
And honestly, I passed on the NECA because I didn't think it was good enough. I thought there was. I thought there was another one.
New was telling me that he saw a Tar Man. It was a Japanese one, and they also had a helicopter zombie from Dawn. You know what did I show you what I grabbed here? I can't believe I did.
Which one? The Blades one?
The Blade. Well, he's Machete. I think that's a whole Rubenstein issue because I remember the commentary for Land where Romero was like, yeah, we wanted to get all the footage from the first 3 films, and there was like some rights issue, and I was like, no, there was a rights issue at Dawn, and you just said, fuck it. Like, Rubenstein wouldn't give the director rights to put clips in his new film from his film. That's, where he wanted too much or something, so, but...
Yeah, there was this other Tar Man from this company. Of course, everybody's scalping it for $200 now, but it was just a regular, like, toy that came in the plastic packaging. And honestly, it looks just as good. And it comes with the little background, the plastic background with the zombie barrel in the background and shit. And, I remember when this came out, I was like, oh, it's kind of cool, but I didn't rush to get it or I didn't really want it. I thought it was a NECA, but it's not. It's a Muck Time Toys. The back of the packaging says copyright 2011.
Yeah, that Land of the Dead figurine, I'd never heard of a company that put those out, but they look as good as a NECA. But no, I always wanted the well, I'd heard about them, and I guess I maybe seen photos of these Dawn of the Dead figurines, and they put out a Blades one. And then, like, I don't know, a couple of months ago, I was like, hey, I wonder if I could find the Blades one, and it's, like, going for, like, a fortune. And they look like shit. They're just, like, solid figures. I don't think their arms move or anything, and I'm like, I'm not paying that much for that little shitty figurine. And then I was like, I don't know what I was looking at, but there was a suggestion on eBay, and it had those Land of the Dead zombies. It was the Butcher and Big Daddy, and there was a Blades one, and I was like, wow, that looks cool. I was like, well, this is probably the best thing you're gonna get for as far as a Blades figurine. Right. And this is pretty cool. So,
but like I get like wanting like Savini, like I don't know, Don. We're getting off topic here. I get wanting the biker figure, but I don't. Who really wants a Blades figure? I mean, but like I mean, I don't know how much you paid for the one you paid for, but it does look cool in the packaging.
too much.
It still looks cool.
His character's just great in Dawn, and it's like that convention I was gonna go to, and it just didn't work out. I really wanted to go to it, and they were having like the Dawn reunion. They weren't even like saying, they were like Ken Foray and Galen and who else was there? Scott Reiniger. And they weren't even like including Savini as like a cast, and I'm like, what do you mean? He was a effects artist, and he's like got
the most famous shot of the movie at this point is like him putting the machete in the dude's face. Like,
right, that was the machete zombie. I mean, that was a French. I think that was the French poster. So, and that's his effect, too, as well. So.
But we getting back to the movie, it is his effect. Kind of one of his first showstoppers, I would say. But so we had the plot development. We found out who killed the police officer. Like during the whole movie, you kind of forget about it. You're like, was it Charlie Sheen? Maybe it wasn't. Well, he gets a call from this cop that we saw lurking around earlier in the movie with Randy Quaid, and like this is my kind of only like, and I get like you can't have the movie be too overstuffed or too many scenes, but kind of the only weak point of the script is all of a sudden like we bring back who murdered the cop at the beginning, and it turns out it was actually this other older guy, this crooked cop, and like Randy Quaid was smart, like at the shop where Bill Duke got killed, like DB Sweeney almost blew his cover in front of the other cops, and Randy Quaid busted him, like, shut the fuck up, like, you can't trust other cops because, people are crooked and shit. It was this older guy who was basically getting the payola from Charlie Sheen, and to cover up the fact that, this guy was going to bust Sheen's operation, he went ahead and killed him. And now he's demanding $20,000 from Charlie Sheen. He's like, I'm out. I'm not going to, cover up crime for you anymore or work for you.
Or I'm going to snitch or something.
Yeah,
too,
he's like, I'm going to snitch. He's like, I killed that cop for you and whatever. Which the way he says it doesn't really seem like Sheen really ordered the hit type thing.
Right.
It's just like Sheen didn't know the guy was an undercover cop, like working with them or whatever, working for him. And the guy just like went ahead and like took the cop out, which like that is like, because I always seen like the director in his interview, and DB Sweeney said, yeah, the script needed work, and I'm like, what are you talking about? This movie's like great with its character motivation, but I think this is kind of what they mean, the shit with this older cop, and he says, and I'm going to give you a bonus. He's like, that kid you got working with you, DB Sweeney's kid, he's a cop too. And like Charlie Sheen, it's a great moment where Charlie Sheen's on the phone at the party, and you just see the look on his face, and he's like, oh shit. So he sets DB Sweeney up. He gives him the money to pay the cop off, but he's like, yeah, we're gonna, you're gonna pay this guy off for me. Just give him this money, and then we'll leave. And but the thing is, he's a cop, and like DB Sweeney's kind of like, oh shit. So like, pretty much he's testing. Like when you watch the movie for the first time, you don't know what's going to happen. You think Charlie Sheen's just setting DB Sweeney up to get killed, but I don't think he really is bad. I think he's testing him to be like, okay, like now I know you're an undercover cop, but like, are you really on my side, or is like, what's this kind of? Because this old cop guy is going to kill DB Sweeney as well to like, cover up his trail or whatever. And this is a fucking awesome scene, how Charlie Sheen comes down in the Porsche and runs the guy over and kills him.
We get this in Deep Cover, too. We get, like, the same thing where Goldblum finds out that Fishburne's
a cop.
Like, an undercover cop, too, as well.
Yeah.
But he's all about it. He's like, no, man, this will be perfect. And we don't get that much here, though, where he's like, no, it's great that you're, like, on the inside. And he just doesn't care. He's like, we're buddies.
Well, yeah, because Sheen never lets on to DB Sweeney. He's like, I saved your life, man. Well, actually, he's not even saying that. DB Sweeney's saying that because, like, as soon as DB Sweeney reports back to like what happened, like Randy Quaid wants to move in and bust Charlie Sheen for running this cop over and killing him, saying, okay, like I don't, that's enough. We got him on this. And DB Sweeney's like saying like, no, like that motherfucker, even though he was a cop, he was going to kill me. And like, that's the thing too, is they kind of play with a little bit, but you don't get too much, is that DB Sweeney is a naive 22-year-old rookie cop in this movie. And he doesn't realize how much of the department is crooked. and that's why like Randy Quaid is really trying to hip him up to be like, don't say this shit in front of other cops, don't divulge your identity to anybody because you can't trust anybody. And this is exactly why, you know, Randy Quaid knew somebody was dirty in the department. These are great night driving shots too.
We gotta get the script, man.
You're hung up on it.
Yeah, because you revealed it to me here. Why do you do that shit? I'm always
telling
talking
you.
eBay for shit, dude.
There's some other shit I want to get to where it's the home video marketing like folder that they give out, and Charlie Sheen's Porsche, they actually gave it away as a contest to I don't know really what the pyramid scheme of it was, but whatever company sold the most No Man's Land VHSs was going to win the prize of whoever owned that company was going to win Charlie Sheen's whatever it is, blue silver Porsche here. And they even included the picture because like, there's some great promo photos of D.B. Sweeney and Charlie Sheen. I think I'll get some blown out and printed out and hanging up in my movie room of them standing around the car. But yeah, this is pretty much where D.B. Sweeney fucks up. And I would say really like once D.B. Sweeney is like exposed to Charlie Sheen, like I think finally when you say, because like as much as like the movie is all about D.B. Sweeney's morals as an undercover cop being eroded, I think also Charlie Sheen's morals are being eroded throughout the film as he gets deeper and deeper, and the cops are like kind of on his trail more. Because
I killed that dude, so
yeah. But Charlie Sheen isn't actually kind of like an evil or bad guy in this movie until this point right here in the movie, wouldn't you say?
I don't know, but I guess he turns darker. I guess I wouldn't say evil, but I guess I didn't think of it that way. But you've probably seen this movie like way more times than I have too. I mean, geez, seen it when it first came out, so you've had a lot of time to think about this.
Well, like, I think what the level is, like, even when he ran over the crooked cop, he did technically do it to save his friend's life. Whereas, like, now, he lets D.B. Sweeney go to see where he's going to go and who he's going to, like, snitch off to. And D.B. Sweeney, again, being the naive rookie cop, he goes straight to Randy Quaid's house. And Randy Quaid's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I told you never to... And it's, like, Christmas night as well. And he's like, I told you never to come here, you know? And of course, Charlie Sheen's down the block watching him. So now Charlie Sheen knows who his superior officer is, and it gets revealed here in a couple minutes. But there's like some more scenes in between. But I think when it happens off screen and it gets revealed later. But I think when Charlie Sheen takes the step of killing Randy, because they show Randy Quaid has a wife and he has kids and stuff. When he goes to that depth of killing Randy Quaid, I think it's kind of like, you know. Because really the real move should be he should be killing D.B. Sweeney, but he doesn't want to do that, you know what I mean? Unless he has to.
This guy has the Bates Motel fucking shooting script, the 1987 TV movie.
With who was that, Bud Cort or whatever?
Yeah, but he wants a lot more for that script. He wants $875 for that. That's a shooting script.
Well, see, like No Man's Land is one of those few movies, Bat, where like I feel like it's still under the radar. Like as much 80s, 90s movies have been like, you know, gotten whatever. I thought this was funny too. I don't know if they were like hinting around to this. I mean, at this point, it's like the thing's blown. We knew who the cover was, but like the girlfriend wears a trench coat just like the cop did. And like, because when the cop gets killed at the beginning, like you just see somebody in a trench coat did it. You don't know who. I was like, were they trying to set up that like at some point in some version of the script,
like a red herring?
Yeah, like a red herring.
We got to get the script though to find out if that was what was really going on.
That is true. We don't know. We got to know about it.
I think that's what's so intriguing about that script is that there's these other scenes that
aren't in the movie
shot, or it's like some kind of alternate version. And that just sounds like really cool, that intro they were talking about.
With the girl smoking the PCP
cigarette or whatever. Yeah.
Well,
that's too hardcore for 1987 audiences, I think.
I want to know who those girls were, if they were like Charlie's character's toys. Like maybe that was the girl he was talking about in the car scene where he's like, oh, I met this girl. She's so beautiful. Like, you don't know. Like, could be. So yeah, like basically Randy Quaid's like, get the fuck out of my house. We'll go over this in the morning. And DB Sweeney, his girlfriend, comes over to his shitty apartment, which she kind of knows something is up because she's like, it doesn't look like anybody lives here. And he's like, oh, I just moved in. Because like his cover story was he was a mechanic in San Diego and he moved up to LA. So it kind of makes sense that he would have an empty, like, shitty furnished apartment or whatever. But yeah, he's buying all this like grocery shit to make her breakfast. Like, I don't know what kind of breakfast he was going to make her with oranges and pineapples and shit. But like he also uses the excuse to get out of the house to I don't know. I thought he was going to go see Randy Quaid, but no, he comes back and this is where his cover gets blown with his girlfriend. It's already blown with Charlie Sheen. But I thought this was a really good character scene, how confused the girlfriend is and kind of sad she is. Because George Zunda, his uncle, shows up and he's like, hey, you know, it's like the day after Christmas. He's like, hey, I brought your presents over from the family or whatever. And he's like,
but why the hell does he know that he lives here? Like, if he's in deep cover, like, that's not smart.
That is kind of a plot hole. I
that's
think
weird.
that
Maybe there's a scene that got cut, huh?
It could be. I mean, this movie's well under this 15 minutes short of 2 hours. This always felt like a movie that should be 2 hours to me. But his uncle, the very thin George Zunda, which I guess he's most famous at this point in time for being in The Deer Hunter, which he was a pretty large guy in that. And then I didn't even realize he really slimmed down for a couple years. But then he kind of blew up by the time Basic Instinct came out a few years later. But he's weirdly uncredited in this film, supposedly. That's what the trivia says. But I don't know if that was just like... Because D.B. Sweeney was talking on his interview, like how great they filled out like the entire cast with all these character actors like him and Bill Duke and stuff. And he was saying like now they just sign one star, everybody else works for scale. But back then they would spread the money out to try to make the whole cast strong, you know? But yeah, so his uncle shows up at the apartment and he's like, oh, this is Benji's apartment. I think probably the only thing was he was probably, like you said, probably deleted scene or something. Like he was close with his uncle. And I got the feeling like, well, like they kind of show it because he looks like he's ready to go to work or he just got back from work at the Thanksgiving scene. I think he lived at home with his parents before this. So like maybe just he told his parents where he lived or something, or maybe they had his address or something. But like, yeah, like I know what you mean. If he was deep cover, like he really should. Because like we said, the movie starts on Thanksgiving and it ends the day after Christmas. So he would have been living in this apartment for a good month at this point, you know. But yeah, this is where he has to reveal her, and of course she feels betrayed because he's been pretending to be this guy that he's not. And she knows that, you know, like once she finds out he's a cop, he knows that, you know, he's basically gonna bust her brother. But the way they play it bad is like she's not even really upset that like her brother is going to go to jail. Like I think she knows the shit that he's in because he keeps, you know, throughout the movie, she kind of asks Charlie Sheen about his business and he always bullshits her. So she knows Charlie Sheen is up to some shit and that he'll just get busted and whatever, you know, but probably not thinking too much out of it because they are a rich family. He could probably bail himself out or get a good lawyer. But this is
I feel like we get that from that exchange when they're D.B. Sweeney and her playing basketball. And she's like asking him questions and stuff like that.
Yeah. Again, more awesome character actors here. The dude from Blood Simple. Our boy, I'm blanking on his name, but he's like a super famous character actor. He just came in for this one day to do this line. D.B. Sweeney goes over to Randy Quaid's house to talk to him and finds he's dead. He got shot in his car. Pretty much the Sheenster was hanging out there all night. Emmett Walsh. Yeah. And
he's top billed on this. He's only there for one day. Yeah, he's on.
Because D.B. Sweeney said like, because he was old already or whatever, like he couldn't remember the lines, so it took he had cue cards and shit. It took a lot, but he was saying like, because Emmett Walsh naturally has so much personality, like you can't even really tell. He just covers it up, you know.
He's old here. Good God, he must have been real because he's in shit in the 90s.
Right.
And so he must have been like ancient then.
Yeah. They just kept working with him. But yeah, here Charlie Sheen's packing his bags. He's going to take a flight somewhere. We're not sure really. And this is where I think the movie, like, kind of all the plot holes are kind of worked out. All the kind of, you know, little imperfections of the script were past that point, and like now it just comes down to character. And like, yeah, he's getting ready to go on the run. And originally they had made plans. Charlie Sheen told him told DB Sweeney, like, we'll go get some cars, the day after Christmas, everybody will be at the mall taking shit back, and we'll just steal some cars. But he's trying to get out of the country, and then his sister shows up, and he talks to her, and, like, this is, like, a great example of actors, and I'm sure the director, too, working with them. Like, there's not a whole lot on the page. Like, this dialogue could be interpreted, like, a lot of ways. And she's like, where are you going, Ted? Like, she's just finally asking him, like, all these questions, like, like she doesn't straight out ask him. And he's like, oh, I just got to go somewhere. But it's just so obvious that shit has hit the fan, and he's ready to go on the run, just packing his bags, leaving out in the middle of nowhere. And it's really great because she's like I said earlier, it was like she wasn't so much worried about DB Sweeney busting her brother. She's worried about, like, what's going to happen between them. Like, are they going to kill each other or whatever? Because she keeps asking him, like, oh, do you know where Bill is? Are you going to go see Bill? And he's like, yeah, I don't know. Like I don't know where he's at. I can't get it. Have you seen him? Like, and then finally the phone rings, and it's DB Sweeney saying, like, yeah, we're going to go get those cars tonight, right? And, like, what did you think about that choice, Bat, where, like, Charlie Sheen is, he booked a plane ticket over the phone. He's getting ready to leave. And it's like he could still just go on the run, but he decides to go meet DB Sweeney to, like, basically have a resolution. Like, what was your take on that as a viewer?
What do you like? What, knowing what happens after, or like, well, just as that as like a plot element?
Just as a plot element of, like, basically, like, shit has hit the fan. He knows DB Sweeney's a cop. Are you
asking me if I think it's realistic? Probably. I don't think so, but, like, it helps.
I'm just saying as a dramatic choice. Film. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it works, but it's not, like, realistic. Realistically, if it's like shit's hitting the fan, you're going with your original plan A. You're not fucking with. This dude's a cop and stuff, and, like, it's probably not a good idea. You've murdered a few people. It's time to go. Yeah. If this is your chance. But yeah, no, it works for the plot, I guess, to conclude the movie.
And the way the scene works out is they're feeling each other out. And by the way, this is one of my favorite scenes in the movie where because the way the sister was dancing around asking the questions, and, like, she knew he was a cop, but she didn't know if Charlie knew he was a cop. And they're kind of dancing around that. And then at the end where he's walking out the door, she yells, he's a cop, or Bill's a cop. And in the trailer, they show an alternate take where Charlie says, tell me something I don't know, before he walks out. But in the movie, he doesn't say anything. He just looks at her, and he grabs his bags or whatever, and he just slowly walks out the door. And it's like, I think the editing choice that they put in the movie was way stronger, because it's just like, you just see all the emotion of, like, Charlie Sheen's, like, basically, like, I need to get this shit over with. I need to resolve this with this guy. Like, I thought he was... Like, it's almost like Shakespearean in a way. Like, that's what I really like about it dramatically. Is, like, he's like, I need to resolve this. Like, either, Bill or Benji, whoever the fuck this guy is, either he's going to arrest me tonight, or I want to kill this fucker. And, like what I was talking about, like, with the way Charlie Sheen's character goes down the slope in this film, is, like, he's so much more intense here. Like, he's almost like in Martin Sheen territory now. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, compared to how jokey he was in, like, the beginning part of the movie. And he's like not even wanting to go on the escalator. He's like, we'll take the stairs. We'll go up to the roof. Got some cars up there or whatever. And, like, I love this moment where they get at the top, and they're like, oh, he opens the door and he's like, oh, like, after you. No, after you. Like, they're just so, like, the tension is so fucking real there. Like both these guys, like, know, like, the shit is, like, like, literally one or maybe both of them are going to die, or Charlie Sheen's going to get arrested. Like, I love it. And, like, really, like, I love the whole style of this movie, and it's done really well, and it's almost like in a pseudo Miami Vice 80s kind of cool, fun way. But this last scene on this rooftop, Bat, I love it that it kind of goes pure, like, Michael Mann here. This end scene, even visually and stuff, but this end scene reminds me a lot of, like, the ending of the Michael Mann movie Thief with James Caan. Like, I
don't know if I've ever seen that.
Oh, it's so fucking... Like, I mean, I hate to be the poser to be like, Michael Mann's best movie is his first movie, but, like, it seriously might be. It's so fucking good, dude. But I like this too. Like they find the car and it's again, it's like, oh, like, you know, you want to do it? You want to? Okay, I'll do it. Whatever. And they're like, basically it comes to a head here. And it's like, again, like every word that they're saying, that's just like bullshit dialogue. The way they're saying it, you know, they're kind of pushing each other. And he's like, yeah, you do it. You do it. Yeah. And Charlie says, what's the matter? Don't you trust me? He says, should I? And it's like, again, it's like, obviously the trust was betrayed by Benji being an undercover cop, but now the trust is betrayed on the other side too, because you know, Charlie Sheen killed Raina Quaid, and you know, that's not cool. And he brings it up. He's like, hey, I did what I had to do and I saved your life. So like he's basically saying like, you should be loyal to me even though you're a cop. And like, again, that's just the conflict of the movie, the friendship. And I think that's why this movie does the flipping of the morality of the undercover cop better than a lot of other movies.
D.B. Sweeney rocking a Bob Dylan.
Yeah, he was.
Like a Bob Dylan t-shirt there.
And I like it too that for the ending where he shows up to do this shit and basically arrest Charlie Sheen or kill him, whatever's going to happen. I like that he went back to dressing to like how he really dressed. He's not dressing like Charlie Sheen anymore. It's kind of like a cool, subtle.
Dude, you shouldn't have turned me onto the script. I'm looking at all this guy's.
Dude, you're obsessed with this
script.
No,
this guy's, he's got a original Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 script that was used shooting, and there's like a whole scene crossed out of it, but you can read it, but it's like crossed off, so there's like scenes that they didn't shoot. Dude, who is this guy?
He's the movie wizard from Van Nuys. He's some old dude, probably owned a poster shop. He's been collecting this shit forever. But dude, we got to talk about the shootout. The shootout here, it's like so Michael Mann when it goes into slow-mo and they shoot each other.
Films here, yeah. This is great.
Dude, it went, okay, this is what's great. Sheen gets shot twice in the gut, then he gets shot through the cheek. That's the fucking best right there. And like the best thing is like when Charlie Sheen falls down after he's been shot, like the acting choice, and you don't see this in really movies, he looks surprised. Like he's like betrayed and surprised when he's looking at D.B. Sweeney. And then he just kind of slumps and dies. And he did hit D.B. Sweeney, I think, just in the shoulder, because he was kind of like, he was leaning up against the car, so he had some cover, but Charlie Sheen was out in the open there. But,
are you sure that squib accident wasn't during the shootout scene? Because he had that squib on his face.
That's what I thought, but everybody said it was when the director and then the things are
garage.
They said it was in the column and it blew out, and like the garage they're on, right, or the rooftop they're on now, there's no columns nearby, you know what I mean? Like there's nothing, like, because that's what I thought. I was like, because I even went back and researched after I read that. I was like, but they did a squib on his cheek, that's probably, but they said no, it was actually his neck that got cut because the shit flew out, and they're like, if it would have went in his eye, it would have blinded him, shit. But yeah, and obviously after like the shootout and the moment of surprise and everything Charlie Sheen had on his face, like true 80s style, it has to end on the freeze frame. But nah, I mean, that's it for No Man's. So tell me how much you're in love with the movie Wizard again, Bat.
It's just, I've just been sorry. You shouldn't have showed me this. Like now I'm like, well, what else does he have?
He's the movie wizard. He's got everything.
But pretty much everything is like $200 to $300, and then if it's like something really rare, then it's like he's got Chinatown here,
dude,
$7,500. So most like the really famous screenplay, films are like $7,500. He seems to stay in this like weird price range.
Dude, this guy was an insider because he's got Psycho 2, The Return of Norman Bates, 1980 unproduced screenplay. It's not the Tom Holland one.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of unproduced ones.
Yeah, like if you got unproduced screenplays, dude, like you were like in the shit, you know what I mean?
You worked at the studio and you stole all these fucking scripts from the studios or something. Or
I want to know
studio connections.
I want to know like how many of these he actually sells in like a month. You know what I mean?
I don't know, but there's like, I'm just like going through here because I'm like, let's see what kind of gold you have hiding here.
Dude, it's weird how he priced shit too. So he has a 1939 acting book used by the actor Charlie Chaplin in the film Monsieur Verdoux, whatever that is. He only wants $60 for a screen used Charlie Chaplin proc. But then for like these scripts, the movies that didn't even get made, it's like $700. It's weird.
Well, yeah, because they're like more rare.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm like, I wouldn't pull the trigger on that No Man's Land one because it might be floating around online. And I really would be interested, but I don't know if that. Now I'm looking at everything else, and I'm like, shit. I mean, for $375, I could get that Leatherface Texas Chainsaw. I mean, I'd say I like that film more than No Man's Land's good, but when you start getting into like shit you want for as far as collectibles, you know.
Nah, dude, I would for $100, I would snap up that No Man's Land script in a heartbeat. But
I'd do 200.
I don't know if I don't know. That's a lot.
I don't know. I've spent more on fucking. They had a Shining script on here. I mean, I'd love, but they wanted you wanted 7,500 for that fucking thing. So pretty insane. I'm gonna look at this tonight. I'll be spending more time, but yeah, overall, No Man's Land. I think it would make a great double feature with The Wraith.
I kind of don't think it would, just because the movies are so like.
Well, look, you open it up like you think No Man's Land's a better film, right?
Oh, hands down.
So
No Man's Land to me is like an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, you'd show this first, and then people are like, "Oh, I don't like The Wraith," so they could leave. It'd be like a drive-in double feature. You always show like the movie that's not as good second. So
it's really weird too, because like what the guys were saying on the commentary track, they're like, maybe this would have done better if they would have waited, because like they thought, oh, Sheen will be hot off of Platoon, but like the movie didn't really do any business. They should have just waited another month or two, or maybe a couple months, and released it in early '88 after Wall Street came out, because this came out like the week before Halloween, and like I think Wall Street came out like around November or something. Maybe if Wall Street would have came out and done better, or done what it did, then maybe Sheen. But I don't know. Like I just think like the media or press, no matter what, and like the whatever film historian guys, like they're like, oh, just the title sucks. It's so generic. I'm like, I think the title's badass.
No, the title's great.
Yeah.
It's just an odd, I know you're like, it's a drama. It's not.
Yeah.
It's a car movie though, and it's got its niche. It's got its like niche audience, and so. But I don't think it was for everybody.
Yeah. I mean, by 1987 standards, it's a car action drama. By today's standards, it's mostly a drama. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like back then, movies were slower paced, more character development, whatever. But it was pretty cool. Like DB Sweeney was saying, like all the shit he did. Like he actually. He spent a couple weeks in some Porsche garages getting trained on how to like do basic maintenance stuff on them.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah, and because he had experience as a teenager. He couldn't afford a car. He had a motorcycle, so he knew how to work on a motorcycle. But the way because Porsches back then especially were completely different. The engines were air cooled, where most engines are like water cooled. And like they were laid out differently and stuff, so like he actually spent some time so he could actually like do stuff. And they had him doing just basic things like maintenance things on the cars, and like
change the oil and shit.
Yeah, and I can't remember the guy's name, but he's in the credits, but they say it's like a fake name. The consultant guy, he was actually a real ex-car thief. So him and DB and Charlie went out and they actually stole cars, and like they would drive them around, and they would basically like return them a couple hours later to where the people like couldn't tell or whatever, you know what I mean? And they said like one trick they played was like they found a car that had an alarm, so they went out and they hit it to make the alarm go off, and then they left for a couple hours, and then they came back and they hit it again, and the guy came out again. It was like middle of the night, and he's just thinking like, oh, something's wrong with the alarm, or it's a cat. It keeps going off. So the guy disarmed the alarm, and then they stole the car. So I thought that was interesting. And they actually did a rental car to do stunt driving with the stunt driving guy. And I'm blanking on his name. His name was Kerry something, but his dad was like the stunt driver guy. His dad was a famous game show host. I think his dad was Bob Eubanks. I think it's Kerry Eubanks.
Wow.
So they did this rental car and they took it out on like a racetrack and they beat the hell out of it, like doing all the turns and skids and stuff. And like they just replaced the brakes and the tires, and the rental car place had no idea they were doing all these long tail spins and all this kind of shit in this car. Like, it's pretty fucking awesome. But
that's
yeah.
what you should do for like if you're ever doing a movie where you're gonna do a bunch of shit, just rent a car for the movie, and then you're gonna pay for insurance. So if you wreck it, just be like, I don't know what that guy came out of nowhere or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, that tree, it just like road was slick.
And then you've got the footage. See, I'm giving you ideas on your next film.
I know. And one thing I thought it was funny. D.B. Sweeney was telling Charlie Sheen stories, and they actually did that movie 8 Men Out after this, which was about the Chicago black section.
I saw that on there, and I was like, I've never seen this.
Which was another Orion picture, so Orion just packaged them into it.
Oh, sweet, yeah.
Yeah, so him and Charlie did that, and he was talking about like how Charlie was always working the system. They were shooting 8 Men Out, but they had to go do the promotional stuff for No Man's Land. So D.B. Sweeney's like, okay, yeah, like I'll do the press, whatever, just get me a plane ticket. And Charlie's like, nah, let me handle it. So Charlie talked to Orion, and he got them a private plane, dropped them off in Minnesota for 3 days so they could see games 1 and 2 of the World Series, and then they flew to New York to do the press. And like, fucking
Charlie called up Orion execs and was like, do you know who my dad is? You know who my dad is, right?
Well, I'm sure they were probably sucking his dick though, because he had done Platoon, and then Wall Street hadn't come out yet, but they knew obviously he had shot Wall Street or whatever.
Then, of course, Red Dawn was a big
Dawn
film.
was a big hit. Yeah.
Did you see that in theaters?
Yeah, I remember going to see it. It was funny too, because like my dad always had Wednesdays and Thursdays off, so if a movie came out Friday, we saw it Wednesday or Thursday. So the movie had been out like less than a week. I remember my dad saying like, oh, like, because I didn't really know about it. I didn't see the trailers. My dad was, not that I needed to be convinced to see a movie at all as a kid, but I remember with Red Dawn, my dad saying like, oh, like you'll like it. It's like G.I. Joe, because like at the time, like the big thing I was into was G.I. Joe. And I remember we saw it. The movie was out less than a week. It was me, my dad, and my mama saw it. And there was like, for like a weekday or whatever it was, evening showing, it was kind of not packed, but it was pretty crowded. And we had like 2 like teenage boys behind us, and like the one kid, I don't know how many times he had seen this movie in the fucking week it had been out, but like he knew the movie and he was quoting the dialogue in the theater. Yeah, and I'm just like, and afterwards, like I thought it was weird. I was like, how does he know like what's going to happen in the movie? And I mean, that would like annoy the shit out of me now, but it just seemed like a weird thing at the time. And like I remember my dad being like, yeah, how many times has he seen this movie already? It's like, oh, it's been out less than a week. But yeah, I'm trying to think.
Red Dawn, I remember when I saw it as a kid, I really liked it a lot. I don't know. I feel like a boy, young guy would enjoy it. I don't.
Oh, I love Red Dawn's one of my favorite movies. That's why I just got that 4K with the poster and shit. Like I was telling you, that's one thing I wish I would have got when I bought them posters, because Red Dawn's always been one of my favorite posters, and I think they were like not rare, but they were a little bit pricier. That's probably why I didn't pick one up in the early 2000s. But I'm sure you can attest to this too, Bat. But the early 2000s of eBay, before everybody was on eBay, you could get collectible shit so reasonable.
Well, that's what I was never getting into the posters when I was here, and like now, I don't know, the past like 10 years. No, I've gotten a lot of shit, but let me tell you, I've paid a pretty penny, and like I'm hearing stories from guys like, I got that, an expensive poster would have been like $20, $30,
$50 a max.
Going for like 100, 200 now. So and I think you're talking about that script, like, oh, that's a lot, man. I pulled not quite 300 or 200, but I pulled trigger on $100 script or $100 posters. So I mean, and that's something like, dude, I don't even have any wall space. Like a lot of the shit's like folded up, stored away. Like someday it would be nice, but a script, man, like it's something you'd be able to flip through and then put on the shelf and pull off and look at again, and just I don't know.
I mean, I could definitely afford it. It's just like
I know you could.
I'm just I don't know. Like I think it's a good thing because I've been spending a lot of money lately. Just little things adding up. I've been
Kino doing a sale, or I thought I saw they were doing a sale or something.
Yeah.
Recently. Yeah.
If I can take a minute break, we can make fun of my purchases for the Kino sale if that's cool.
Sure.
All right. Yeah. I'll be right back.
All right.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
It's recording now. Okay, we're back. I bought The Last Seduction from Kino Lorber, and I bought Cabin Boy. We just recorded 20 minutes that nobody will ever hear.
We didn't record it.
Yeah, we didn't record it. And I also bought the card player. And then Bat is what'd you get, Bat? You got some Arrow pickups. You got Deep Red.
I got the Deep Red for 12 something sealed, but it's an older release. So yeah. And then we were talking about just like 4K Arrow Tenebrae, but I don't. That's an older pickup for you. But
yeah,
I was commenting on because you said the Tenebrae wasn't really that great. The 4K.
It's like I don't want to shit it because I'm sure there's somebody listening to this who got the Tenebrae 4K and went nuts for it. But it's like it is I don't know like it is what it is, like, you know what I mean. Like I guess I should be happy, but I don't know, like it was really the menu system is fucked up. Like it starts out not in HDR. You hit play, my player takes a second to flip over to HDR Dolby Vision, and then the movie's playing all right. Like they didn't put like a bumper of black or anything, just the movie starts playing. Like there's no opening titles, no nothing.
It's like a bootleg.
Yeah, like that really pissed me off because then I got to rewind it to see the beginning of the movie, like that it skipped over while I was switching over. I don't know, it's just weird. It's like, but it's like one of those things where it's like, it's not so much that the disc doesn't look great or it doesn't look whatever. It's just like there's some upgrades where you're like, oh, thank God this looks, you know, like this looks like the way it should be, or where it's like, it's kind of like, yeah, like I just bought the movie again. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I was hearing about. So I've been looking at The Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah.
Arrow 4K, and I'm like, because I keep seeing it go, like that special edition with like the poster and stuff. I'll see it dip down to like $20-some.
Yeah. And
you were like, what? And I'm like, I saw it dip down a few times on Amazon. Like it's almost $30 or whatever.
Yeah.
And I kept looking at all these reviews, and everybody's like, basically what you just said. Like, I already had the Blu-ray, and I bought this piece of shit. I've double dipped for nothing. And I was looking around on eBay, and I've got that Hills Have, or Last House on the Left steelbook that I'm very happy. Well, I'm not really happy with it. There's some problems with that, but I don't need that. I don't need a 16 millimeter film. You don't need to buy. This is what I've come to the conclusion is that if it's shot on 16, don't buy it on 4K. There's no reason. So the Hills Have Eyes, I found out they put out a steelbook of that too. And everyone said, yeah, that Blu-ray, the 2K is perfect. So I'm like, this will go good with my Last House on the Left steelbook that they put out. So I pulled the trigger on got a sealed copy of that.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any need to buy, because I was not really super happy. And I think it's just the film elements of Last House. I think there's only one decent print out there.
Yeah. That
MGM had. And it's what you got on the DVD and that Blu-ray you were talking about earlier. And, so it could, because I don't know what the MGM Last House looks like, but that scene when Sadie comes out of the house at the end with the knife, with the pool scene, they went in there. Okay, so the MGM DVD I have didn't do this. So I'm guessing they didn't fuck with it on the Blu-ray. This is Arrow doing this, thinking that I have a problem with this because, okay, so you went and you restored the footage, but now they shot that day for night, and so they darkened the scene for the effect to make it look like it's still night. And what does Arrow do? They went in there and they restored it to what it was shot like. And it's like, you're messing with something here that you're going too far, and they went and brightened it, and now it's day. Right. Like, they went and brightened the scene, and I never saw a problem with that, actually. Oh, it's too dark, so we're going to go in and, like... So now you're playing filmmaker here, I think, with your restoration. And not only that, I don't know what the MGM looks like, but the last house on the left arrow is super fucking grainy. I mean, it looks... my MGM, or that other MGM with the giallo cover, I think looks better. Yeah. The DVDs do, you know? Yeah,
I mean, it looked like a 16mm print. And keep in mind, this was on my 1080p that I was, because I was working and I have a 1080p plasma in this room. Yeah. So like, I wasn't like watching the movie real closely, but when Craven was talking on the track, he said, "Oh, we shot this day for night," and he's like, "I was skeptical, but it turned out really good." And I looked up and I was watching it when you're talking about the scene where she's going to pretend to blow the guy,
where she comes out of the house with the knife and stuff. Yeah.
And I was watching it, like, because day for night bugs me, even in modern shit. I think it always looks fake, and it's pretty good. Like, but no, like, it wasn't too dark, and it wasn't like,
I know on the VHS it was the MGM VHS from 98, 99. I know that looked a bit dark, but it was not, it wasn't To All a Good Night dark.
Right. No, like, I wouldn't even say it. Yeah, I wouldn't say this was dark. The MGM one was dark. Yeah. It didn't need to be lightened up. And that's my number one problem with restorations, especially when they go to 4K, especially, is like, everything now when somebody restores it where the original filmmakers aren't involved or whatever, it's always like redone either too dark or too bright. And it's like, and I know some people have this weird thing because it's like they don't have great displays, or their displays aren't dialed in to where they, like, some people just think any brighter image is a better image. And like, I don't like that, because when you artificially brighten or boost even shit you shoot on video, anything, like, you lose visual quality by doing that, because you're like...
Well, I see what Arrow was doing. They're like, oh, this had light, and we're gonna bring it back up, because obviously it was synthetically messed with. Yeah. But that was there's a reason for it. It wasn't like, oh, this was blah 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 and the transfer, now we're gonna fix it. No, you're not fixing anything. There's nothing to fix. This is on purpose. This is what the filmmakers were intending to do, and you think that you're smarter than the filmmakers, and you're not. So I might, if the MGM one didn't do that, then I probably... So those are two different transfers, and I probably... I wasn't super impressed with their fucking extras either. Like, they just ported everything over for that Arrow Blu-ray.
Yeah, they've been doing some lame extras, I gotta admit.
Well, that was a while ago. And then the reason I got that Steelbook was because the only thing that was different with that big special edition was that they had the soundtrack for the film on CD, like... I don't know, man. For $25, I can get Mondo's vinyl, which I've talked to you about. I do a lot of. I've got 2 turntables. I've got a lot of vinyl. I've got a lot of soundtracks, and I'd rather have that. So that's on a perk. And the other thing was that it had the either the Sex Crime of the Century or one of these alternative title cards.
Yeah, Krug and Company.
It's not a different. Yeah, Krug and Company, and I'm like, but I looked and it's not even a different print, so I'm like, so you just have a title card on the MGM. It's that print, and when I bought it, they were like uncut, and okay, but it's the same print that's been on the DVDs,
right?
And on your Blu-ray, they didn't reinsert the Phyllis gutting scene. Even though that's what I thought they did. I was like, oh, did you guys go and splice? Because if you went and spliced that back together, then that is the longest cut in existence. That's the only thing that's missing that was in the original theatrical when they, struck those prints. So, yeah. What else did you get?
Yeah, so jumping back, I was trying to find some screen grabs of that Arrow cut to see what you're talking about, because I didn't realize that. I don't know. Like, I have a weird thing too, because
of Last House.
Yeah, like I have a weird thing too. Is I like
you don't have that?
No, I just have the MGM one.
I'm gonna get the MGM one now because that bugged me about them. Don't get me wrong. I think everything's great on it. The grain is like, I like that they left the grain and they didn't remove it.
Yeah. Because
it's supposed to be grainy and stuff. That's cool. But yeah, that just that little thing bothered me. I didn't hear a comment. I just looked at it and was like, I know what the fuck you did, Rady. This is not normal because I've seen this movie like 100 times.
Yeah, like I mean, and that's touchy too. Is like everybody's going to have preferences, but like I just have a thing where like when I bought what was it, Dress to Kill, I could get the MGM version or I could get the Criterion version. And
I didn't even know there was an MGM Blu-ray. I thought that there was just the 2 DVDs. And I think Newt said something about there being an MGM Blu-ray too. And I looked on eBay and it goes for relatively cheap. But I was like, it's probably not as good of a it's probably just an older. Like they transferred it back when they did the DVD or something, like Don May did with Thriller.
Yeah, but it's like I don't know, like put it this way, if you do a new 4K scan of something, it's going to look better than something that was on 2K scan. But at the same time, is like, I don't know, like like I said before, I get nervous when somebody's like, oh, I'm such a fan of this film, I'm going to make it look like the way it's never looked before, let me restore it. I kind of rather see what the studio, like right. no offense, but like with all the mistakes Criterion's made over the years with replacement discs and Shout Factory and everybody else, I like in general, and I'm not saying major studios don't also botch discs, but in general, like especially like in the past when studios with like their home video divisions were big and had good people working in them, like I felt like you got a higher quality, like a lot of this boutique product, like some of it's great, but like a lot of people like kind of like shit on Kino as being one of the lower level boutiques because they're like, a lot of times they just use the transfer that the studio gave. I was like, yeah, dude.
No shit. But they go with what works.
But a lot of the time, those transfers that were done by the studio were done by people who literally did it all the time. Whereas, like, you have these other like we use such and such production company, which has been doing Blu-ray transfers for 3 years now, and it's like, come on, dude. Like,
I will give Don May credit. I've given him shit on past not your podcast. This is my first time being on here, but. Yeah, the Suspiria fucking transfer. Oh, dude, you're pro. You're pro. I just don't like how you do stuff with your boutique per se. And I mean, it seems to be a lot of these boutiques have been doing. He's not some. I gotta say that like the one that we know that runs sales constantly, they've been doing some seriously questionable shit in the past year, like. Pressure.
It's like, call it out. You're allowed to call it anybody on this podcast. I'm not gonna
call them out because they were very friendly about my replacement fucking slip cases and box and stuff on that release. And no, they were really cool. The gal was like, that was pretty redeeming. Like I gotta say, their customer service is top notch.
I wonder
because she was like, I showed her the pictures and she was like, oh, were they all the slipcases? And I was honest. I could have got the undamaged slipcases. They were ready, and they came in like 3 days. Yeah. That's how quick it fucking moved. And I was like, wow, you guys. And they communicated like to the hilt. She kept saying, hey, they're on the way. And they were. It wasn't no bullshit. Like, the slipcases came faster than the pre-order. Like, the pre-order, I was like, come on, Grandpa's fucking whatever, got the whole family and, like, the 2-year-old baby's fucking packing.
Yeah, no. A while. I can't remember her name, but I think that's the same. I'm pretty sure that's got to be
somebody's wife or something.
I don't know who it is. I just remember it's a female's name, which surprised me working for that company. And I agree, like I'm not really down with
They're marketing.
They're
We're
used
say
car
they're
sales
marketing techniques. Yeah.
But I had to contact them because they were doing replacement discs for Flesh of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And
that gave some of it away.
Yeah,
and put that out. Yeah.
Well, that gave it away, but who cares? Yeah. But I had moved, so I was like, "This is my new address," and she was like, she responded. She was really cool. So it's like, yeah, like I'm not even like, I don't know. I'll just put it this way: the only people that are on my like shit list is Arrow Video.
Yep, that's why this is not brought to you by Arrow Video.
It's not brought to you by.
Picked up 2 fucking Arrow Video, but they're 2Ks. I'm staying away from their 4Ks.
Stay on the 2Ks, baby. Because
you're like, the 2Ks are gold with them. Have they had any replacement Blu-rays though?
Replacement Blu-rays?
Yeah.
I thought there was one, but I could be wrong. I thought there was one a while ago. And like I've had pretty good luck in the replacement disc game, honestly. Like I had a few that took a while to come. Shout Factory was actually pretty good about it. There was one that I didn't even bother with the replacement, Black Christmas. It was like on the 2.0 stereo track, this is the wrong mix, and I'm like,
it sounded fine to me.
Well, no, I'm always going to listen to the 5.1 that's on there. So like I was like, I'm not going to make you pay the $5 to mail me a disc, right. And then I'm going to have an extra disc out of the case and like whatever.
Right.
But it just like, I don't know. Like I like transfers that are film like, and I don't like anything that looks like a beat up piece of shit like grindhouse print or anything. But I will, for the most part, I will take a lot of the stuff that I've gotten over the years, especially like the MGM 2K scans, where people are like, "Oh, this release of New Year's Evil is from an ancient scan." Oh, and I'm like, okay, and you watch it, the grain is intact, they haven't fucked with it, there's no DNR, like it looks like a film print.
Oh, that's the Kino.
Yeah, or the Shout Factory. No, I don't have the Kino of that, but I have the Shout Factory, and I have like the 88 films, which
isn't the New Year's Evil Kino? Didn't that just come out?
It is now. Yeah, they did the American repress, but
yeah, I heard good things about that transfer. Actually, from who, the Kentucky shilling motherfucker.
Oh, okay.
But he got a screener too, so I mean he felt obligated to. But he put it over. I don't know if that's a 4K or just a 2K.
It's a Blu-ray. I'm looking it up now.
I love the cover and
the cover's awesome.
Everything looks great on it. So it definitely was on my list, but I haven't. Dawn of the Discs hasn't said, "Hey, it's out. Order it now." Like, or I missed it.
It's out. It's $18. It wasn't on sale, but it's a brand. The Kino of New Year's Evil is a brand new 2K master, which like if you see,
are you gonna get it? Or you're gonna get it when it's cheap?
I'll get it when it's cheap. I'll probably miss out on the slipcover, honestly.
Because you're double dipping.
I'm triple dipping, dude.
Triple dipping.
Because
you like that movie that much? I saw it once. I vaguely remember it.
I love it, dude.
I think you were telling me.
I made Zach do it on the show, and he didn't like it. I felt bad. Yeah. But,
so, what else have I? Oh, I picked up. I picked up a few other. They were not sealed, but they were used. I was like, I think this is how Goat does it when he doesn't want to spend a lot of money on something. He buys stuff from a reputable seller that's used. You're telling me.
I got some used stuff recently that, other than the fact it didn't have shrink wrap on it, like even the outside case was mint. You know what I mean?
I've never bought. This is the first time I've ever bought Blu-rays that were used from somebody. But I bought because I was like, when I watched it, I was like, yep, I don't know how I missed this one, but I never saw it back in the VHS days, and I rented a lot of slashers, and I saw the remake, and it is the Toolbox Murders, because I was hearing all kinds of like good shit, dude. Yeah. The start of this movie is fucking brutal. I mean, this has like Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, and Maniac feeling. Like, obviously, it's predates those, so, but heavy Maniac, like where this dude's. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't. I haven't seen either. I haven't seen the original or the remake, and I want to see the remake
with Angela Bettis.
Yeah, didn't Toby direct that too?
Yeah, it's fun, but this is not like, I don't know. Maybe you need to see the original first, because
I probably should.
The remake, you'll really like the remake, I'm sure, because it's got a better. I want to say it's got a better plot, but like if you're into like it's got New York Ripper feel too, but like this predates it. But Cameron Mitchell's in it, and that's actually like he gets into this whole like diatribe scene where like, because I don't want to give. I guess I'll be spoiling it. So, but Cameron Mitchell's in it anyway. The opening, these I gotta say, the victims in this fucking movie legitimately look scared. And it's got porn star Kelly Nichols where she's masturbating in this bathtub, and then dude comes in with a fucking nail. Oh yeah, it's like Driller Killer and Nail Gun Massacre, but predates them. Was the original American or Italian made? I think it's an American film. Okay. There's no Italian actors. I mean, Kelly Nichols is a fucking New York porn star, but yeah, she's like fingering herself in the bathtub, and like we get like, I don't know, 10 minutes of that and her having a good time, and then dude just shows up with a ski mask on and a fucking nail gun and comes in their door, breaks into her house randomly. It is so grimy, and like, I don't know. I mean, you'll see it and you'll be like, well, I've seen more hardcore slashers, but just like knowing the time period and stuff and how it predates a lot of I think it's 77. So this predates like everything really, but you'll get some heavy Maniac, Joe Spinell vibes off of it. So, and the other one I picked up because I don't know, I just don't know that. I don't know if this was shot on 16 or not, and I don't know how good the 4K would be. So I just went ahead and got the Funhouse Blu-ray. Okay. Yeah, the both discs came and they were clean, and I was just so happy with these two purchases. And I hadn't seen Funhouse. Actually, I did see Funhouse on a DVD. It was that 4-pack with and Phantasm 2, and maybe there was something else. I can't remember what the other movie. Oh, Serpent in the Rainbow, I think, was on that. Yeah, I saw the Funhouse on TV a lot as a kid, and the last time I watched it was actually the last movie I watched on streaming, or just any movie I watched in my apartment in LA before I moved, because like everything was packed up. All I had was my computer monitor, so I did Netflix streaming. They actually had the Funhouse, and then I bought that Blue like as soon as it came out, and I got it, and I watched all the special features. Like, I don't think I've ever watched the movie all the way through on Blu-ray. Oh, okay. I watched the movie, but then I ran through the special features, and I really enjoyed the commentary with actually it sounds like that commentary was done around the same time he did Salem's Lot, because I listened to that one. I picked up that 4-pack because I always wanted Salem's Lot on the 2K, and so there's the Stephen King 4-pack with Cat's Eye, and I think it's on there and something else. Yeah, I had bought all those separately, and then like 2 months later they did that 4-pack. That 4-pack's nice. I love the I think it's got a slip cover or whatever. It's fun. I got it from Dollar General. I saw it, and I'd already bought Cat's Eye, and I was like, I'm going to have to double dip because where else I've never seen I got to have Salem's Lot. I just got to have this fucking movie, and I don't care that I'm double dipping. So, but no, it sounds like the commentaries are recorded around the same time because his voice sounds fairly around the same, same grizzled sound. So you might have done them like in the same month. So jumping back to my pickups, whatever. The next one on my list is, which just sucks because I wasn't recording. We missed out on you laughing at me for getting Cabin Boy, but I wasn't expecting that one. But the next one at $11.99. This was a recent release, like came out like a month ago, and I've been wanting to. Blind Buy. I've never seen it. It's a TV movie called I'm Dangerous Tonight, starring Machen Amick. Is that her name? I like her, but directed by our boy Tobey Hooper.
So
I never heard of that. I just got a rip of a Wes Craven TV movie that I don't think's it's a VHS rip, and it's Night Visions.
Okay,
and I've never seen that. I haven't watched that yet. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't, but I want to.
Okay.
I didn't know where it was available.
I just have a VHS rip of it because I'm looked around. I don't think it's out on DVD or anything. I think that's all you can get is. But I haven't watched it yet. So, but how's the TV movie? Tobe Hooper TV movie? Pretty good.
I don't know. I've never seen it. I never heard about it until Kino announced the Blue, and people were shocked, like that's coming out on Blue, and I'm just like. It's like I was like, it's Tobe Hooper. It's from a time period. It's basically like when he went to TV after all his Cannon movies bombed. You know, like the early '90s. I was like, I want to see this. Like I want it in the collection because I'm pretty sure if it ever goes out of print, nobody else will ever put it out again. You know what I mean?
Didn't you tell me you'd never seen Eaten Alive?
I've never seen Eaten Alive, dude.
So how are you getting this fucking rinky-dink fucking and not picking up Eaten Alive? Because if you like, dude, it's the triple threat. It's actually these 4 movies that he did. Because Funhouse is 80, right? But Chainsaw, Salem's Lot, Eaten Alive, and Funhouse. They all have that. Funhouse is a little bit more. Has got a little bit more studio feel to it, but you know, it's still got a little bit of that Tobe Hooper. Actually, it's kind of Funhouse feels like Salem's Lot. I mean,
it does.
The feel of it, and then Eaten Alive feels like Chainsaw.
But
it almost feels like it's a sequel to Chainsaw. It's like instead of Leatherface, it's this alligator.
Dude, I think it's just one of those things. I've never come across a copy of Eaten Alive on TV.
Dark Sky, I'm thinking about upgrading to the Blu-ray. So I've got the Dark Sky DVD 2-disc. If you're really like on the fence, I'll send you the DVD once I pick up the Blu-ray, and you can watch it, and then. I mean, it wouldn't be that bad either because it's kind of got a grindhouse grainy feel. Of course, Robert Englund, Buck, and he's here to fuck. So you know,
paid homage and I gotta speed it up here because I need to get to my pizza. It's almost 10 o'clock at night.
So what else did you pick up?
Okay, at 4:49, Blind Buy, but I kind of remember the trailers of this movie as a kid. This is another one to laugh at me. What's his name? Bronson Pinchot, Balky. He's the crazy bellboy and Blame It on the Bellboy.
I never saw that fucking.
It was $4.49. I had to take a swing. I think a lot of these cheap ones are about to go to print. This is a movie I just watched. I threw the trailer on because I was like, oh, this is an interesting cast. Like Eric Stoltz and some people. It's just some early '90s kind of slacker romance movie called Bodies Rest in Motion. And then,
Stoltz is in that? I'll watch anything with him, man. I've never heard of it, but
yeah, and for like $5 or whatever it is. And this is like a cheesy movie, but I remember this on the VHS shelf like all the fucking time. So like, and I tried to watch it on cable, and I just like gave up a year ago. So I don't even know why I bought. I do know why I bought it. It's just the cast. So The Favor, one of the early movies with Brad Pitt, Bill Pullman, and Ken Wall, and they're trying to romance like Elizabeth McGovern and some other chicks. That was $4.49.
Have not seen it.
Yeah,
you're getting some obscure shit.
I always do, especially when it's cheap. Because I figure if it's a $5 or less bat, and I hate it, I'll just flip it at the local used store for $1, and what am I out?
That's a better deal than what fucking Severn's trying to clear out their damn DVDs that they don't want anymore for $5 a pop, and you got Blu-rays for less than that. So yeah.
So this is the next one. Let's see. So for $5.99. So we're getting high dollar here. See, now you see why I don't want to pay $300 for a No Man's Land.
You'll never find that unless we can find it online. But you'll never. That's one of a kind, buddy.
So this is a movie I kind of always wanted to actually see. for $6. We're talking about Gun Shy with Liam Neeson and Sandra Bullock. It's like a...
I've seen that cover. I've never read it.
Yeah,
man, you read it.
It's like
this is all the shit I would have passed at the video store in the 90s.
Well, I passed on it too, but
you're like, till now.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I'll watch some literally from the year 2000. Sandra Bullock and Liam Neeson. Like, if it was made in 2000, it can't be that bad compared to the shit now. This next,
I agree. Okay.
This next one, $9.99. This is a movie.
You spent some money, buddy.
Yeah, $9.99. I was like, should I? Because it's a blind buy. It's risky. But I'm like, I wanted to see this movie so fucking bad when I was a kid, and I couldn't get my dad to take me to see it. He was like, it looks so shitty. Fucking Heart Beeps with Andy Kaufman as a plastic robot. It's about two robots.
I've never heard of this.
You never heard of it, dude? It's like from like 1982 or something, and it's the bizarre. It's the bizarrest thing. It's called, instead of like Heartbeat, it's Heart Beeps, and it's a robot love story. So Andy Kaufman plays a plastic robot. Who's the girl in it? Oh, Bernadette Peters, and our boy Randy Quaid's in it too.
Oh,
it's a romantic science. It's from 1981. So I would have been 4 years old, begging my dad to take me to see Heart Beeps, and he wouldn't.
Your dad was probably right.
He was probably right.
Yeah.
But they're like do you remember those like commercials from the 90s, those battery commercials of like the family that were like plastic skin people? They were like kind of like...
I think that might have been before my time. I was born in 86, so...
Okay, maybe
it would have been like 80, at least 87 to 89 is when I started remembering commercials. So
it literally looks like Andy Kaufman like as a plastic robot. Like it's his face, everything. Yeah.
So he's kind of in it, but he's not in it.
Yeah. Like I don't know if it's. I think it's probably him in the suit. Like it's got to be.
But he's got a mask on.
He's got a mask on. but and then there's like actual like robots like R2-D2 looking type robots, but they're all like cheesy 1950s. Like there's one that's like a big bucket head who smokes a cigar and shit. But like, yeah, like, and I'm pretty sure this was a pretty notorious flop. But our boy Stan Winston got nominated for an Oscar for it. So,
but he didn't win.
No,
for making the suit.
Yes.
Oh my God.
He lost to our boy Rick Baker for American Werewolf in London. That's why he didn't win.
No shit. Oh my God, that's a no-brainer right there. Yeah. Obviously.
But he made a...
Stan's like, he probably got the offer to do it. He's like, no, I'm going to do this movie with Andy Kaufman. I think it's going to do better.
Yeah. You think he turned down the offer?
Yeah, he turned down American Werewolf. They're like, we want to get Stan Winston, but he's doing this robot movie with fucking Andy Kaufman. So he's like, sorry guys, my studio's booked. I'm too busy doing this.
All right. So the next one we're talking about, $5.49. This is a blind buy. I was always curious about this movie. But the Drew Barrymore movie Mad Love, where she plays the girl with mental illness that Chris O'Donnell's trying to love. And the reason I bid on it was...
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, it was a pretty mainstream movie in the 90s, like around 95, 96. And it's like they kind of like run away or go on a road trip or something, and she's hot, but she's got mental illness and shit. And I watched that movie Gun Crazy with her and her boy James LeGros not too long ago, and I fell in love with that movie. So I'm like... If this is even like 1/10 of that movie, like, I mean, that was like a crime movie where they're killing people. I know that's not what Mad Love is about, but I'm just like, even if it's a drama and she's a somewhat similar character, I'll go for it.
Look, man, hot girls with mental illnesses is like the story of my life.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of listeners out here are like, yeah, I always fall for the hot girls that have mental illness.
It was.
Oh, good.
So this next one is a double dip. I have the DVD, but I'm trying to collect all the Dario Argento films, so I double dipped. We're talking high dollar here, double dip too. $11.99.
That's not even. I paid more for that deep red fucking Blu-ray. Jeez, high dollar.
But yeah, Dario Argento's The Phantom of the Opera. And
I never saw that. Man, do you got Stendhal? Me and Newt were talking about Stendhal syndrome. That's got to be number 2 for me.
I love Stendhal syndrome. Yeah, I got it.
Is that Blue Underground? Because like I remember the VHS was not. I just felt like that was not shot. It feels like the same cameras they used to shoot like the British TV like Mr. Bean and shit like that.
That's how the DVD looked. The Blu-ray in terms of the colors is better, but I think Blue Underground even did like a remastered, but I have the original first Blue Underground and it's a mess. It's like the grain is like strobing. Like I have to play with my settings and like put it on a certain setting on TV so it's not distracting. So I think
isn't there a 4K that just came out?
I think it got announced, but I'm going to pick up that 4K whoever's doing it.
We'll tell
because I need to replace
Blue Underground is doing it because they did the Toolbox Murders in 4K, so they're doing 4. Yeah, I don't know if they are, but I know they have the rights to a lot of the Dario Argento stuff, and I know they put out that Blu-ray of Stendhal. So.
I know it's just. But sometimes the 4K rights are separate, though. Like
it's so that one that's strobing is Blue Underground.
Yeah, it's the first. I know they put out a remastered one, but it's the first one, and I was just like, I'm not buying your shit again.
They want a lot.
Yeah,
that Toolbox Murders looks great, and I know they did a 4K, but I don't know if I need that in 4K. So.
Yeah, I need Stendhal in 4K too.
I need Stendhal just in HD. Jeez.
Yeah.
But decent, not something fucked up.
Yeah, not fucked up. I'm trying to find on Blu-ray.com. I can't find who's doing the Stendhal.
It's probably Blue Underground, man.
I actually hope it's not.
You're like after that whole strobing shit.
Yeah.
So while you look around, my grand finale of my last thing I bought was another used disc, but this one I should have grabbed when it came out, and I picked up Grindhouse Releasing's, which is out of print. Well, the slip boxes. I got the Drink Your Blood with the box that it goes into. $29, but this thing's going for like a lot more. This was auction, and there was only one other guy bidding, and I did like one of those last minute 2-second bid high, and yeah, I got it for $29, I think, shipped.
Yeah.
You have that release? Have you seen I Drink Your Blood? I thought you told me you didn't.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Well, you need to get on. Sir.
Yeah.
Please do.
The shitty strobing version of Stendhal Syndrome is going for $40 new on Amazon. Who would pay that? It's a notoriously terrible transfer.
The Blue Underground one I saw was quite expensive, and I think they have copies in stock.
They have like a newer, like, because this came out like I think it's a 2009. There's like a 2017 re-release Blue Underground did, but
maybe they fixed that strobing. Yeah. I'll probably roll the dice. Well, is that on your 4K TV? That's doing that?
No, well, both, but I noticed it on my 1080p TV, dude. That's how bad it was.
Oh, see, I'm wondering if it was like enhanced by the 4K TV or
yeah, because I mean, sometimes it does show bad, but like if you can find threads and shit about it. I haven't read the reviews of the remastered. I was just holding out, hoping somebody else will do it. But yeah, I did hear that too. That Stendhal was coming to 4K. Maybe it's VS doing it. I would buy their shit.
Well, yeah, I mean, if they did a decent, I mean, geez, what's up with the Chainsaw 2? I just finally, I ordered that German. That's on the way.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not biting on that. I'm keeping with the MGM Blue.
Well, they haven't even like revealed any artwork or anything, and it's like, what are you doing?
They're too busy jerking off over Roadhouse.
Well, yeah, it's like they announced the TCM2 4K like back at the beginning of the summer, and I thought that was going to be their biggest title, and they're like, we got Amityville and Roadhouse coming out. Yeah. We forgot all about that release. It's like, I thought it was coming out in the fall here. At least you'd announce it.
They're probably saving it for the Christmas sales or something.
That makes no sense. And fuck Roadhouse. I mean, Amityville's cool, and
Amityville is
I don't
cool.
know, I'm surprised you haven't pulled the trigger, especially with the sale going on, sir, this weekend. And
dude, I got the box set with Amityville in it with the Blu-ray. I was happy with the Blu-ray. Dude, like I was thinking about that because when they announced that Amityville, and I was just kind of like, that's kind of like a meh. I was hoping it was something that's not really widely already available. You know what I mean?
But there isn't a 4K of that out, is there? Are they the first ones to put the 4K out?
I'm sure they are, but dude, who cares? Like that movie's always.
Did you get the Dollhouse one and the 4-pack of the janky ass fucking versions from them?
I have the Scream Factory box set of the first 3. What people don't understand is those other movies.
3 sucks too. I don't like it.
Are you kidding me?
Just
3's awesome, dude.
Are you kidding me? 2's
when the
best.
Monster comes out of the well in the hole. It's it's the guy in the rubber mask.
Wasn't that in 3D too?
Yes, and the 3D will give you
The
seizures. Yes, and the 3D will give you seizures and make your eyes cross. It's so fucked up and grainy.
Sounds like the Stendhal fucking transfer.
It kind of is, but in 3D. So the next one was a blind buy, another 449 blind buy. I've always been curious about this movie because it just looks weird. It's called A Pyromaniac's Love Story with Billy Baldwin in it. It's just another one I've always seen at the video store and never got to watch.
I'll have to see the cover. I don't think I've ever.
He almost looks like it's probably not, but he looks kind of sleazy. I think he's like in a trench coat on the cover and he's like looking at some woman. But the next one, it's not really a blind buy, but it's just a movie I haven't seen since I rented the VHS. But The Real McCoy, this was $9.99. The Real McCoy with Val Kilmer and Kim Basinger, and like
that was a pretty big movie when it came out.
It was. I remember renting it. But I don't know, like Val Kilmer, especially with his illness. Like we're not getting any more Val Kilmer movies, so I kind of seen it on sales and shit, and I waffled
wasn't Val Kilmer in Top Gun? The new Top Gun. I heard he was.
He was, yeah. I watched the bootleg of his scene. That's the only part of the movie I cared about.
You didn't go to the theater to see that one, buddy? I thought you'd been all over that fucking retro pile of poop.
Dude, I didn't like the first Top Gun when I was 7 years old.
I didn't like it. I never liked that movie either. It's like, I'd rather see I already told you what I want to see. I want to see Days of Thunder 2.
I could go with that. Coal Trickle. I had the little cars from Hardee's that you give the meal or whatever.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm not even into NASCAR or anything. This movie is just, I don't know, Rooker.
Yeah.
And I already told you the perfect sequel.
The mellow yellow car was so cool as a kid. Everybody loved the mellow yellow car he drives in it. But I kind of like the other car he drove in it, the white and pink one. That was kind of cool. But
it just totally makes sense that they need to do a sequel. Michael Rooker is game. I know he is. He's sitting out there
I almost
I'm
pulled
ready.
the trigger yesterday on it. I've never owned a copy of Days of Thunder. I almost pulled the trigger. The 4K was $13.99, but I didn't do it.
Where's that at?
It was at Best Buy.
That's my favorite Tom Cruise movie is Days of Thunder. I like Eyes Wide Shut too as well. So.
I love Eyes Wide Shut. I love Color of Money. I love Losing It. Did Losing It a couple months ago.
Risky Business, you probably already have in 4K.
There is no 4K Risky Business.
I thought there was a 4K.
No, not a Risky Business.
You're like, I would know, because I would have it.
I would know. I would have it. This next one, I can't remember if I've seen this movie or not, but it's always on sale, and it's always for $4.49. I'm like, I'm just going to fucking buy it. The Rich Man's Wife with Halle Berry, early 90s Halle Berry.
Never seen it.
I love Halle Berry.
Never seen it. I've heard of it.
I'll watch all her shitty movies. Okay, now this next one, another blind buy. I think I've seen parts of it on cable before. Another $4.49, and I was totally smelling the No Man's Land fumes here. But Roommates, starring D.B. Sweeney and Peter Falk, is D.B. Sweeney's a college-age guy. And he needs I don't know what happens, but his 80-year-old grandpa moves in with them, and they become roommates. I've
never seen that. The only other D.B. Sweeney movie I've seen is Fire in the Sky.
Really?
I was looking at his.
You never seen Cutting Edge? Because I got that on Blu recently. Yeah. Cutting Edge is a ice skating movie he was in.
insane.
It was.
That's a great title.
Okay, listen to this story and tell me you wouldn't watch this motion picture. There is Maura Kelly plays a Olympic hopeful, ice skating queen, but her partner gets an injury or he quits. I can't remember which. D.B. Sweeney he can't make it in the minor leagues of hockey anymore. He's a hockey player. He gets cut from his team. He gets paid money to learn figure skating and be this girl because they need a strong guy to pick her up and throw her up in the air and shit. So the whole movie is about him learning how to do figure skating with her, and they fall in love. And it's all about.
I could see D.B. Sweeney being.
It's good, dude. It's actually good, and it's good because of D.B. Sweeney, and I like D.B. Sweeney. But No Man's Land he's not bad in No Man's Land, but that's not his best performance. He got better as an actor as he went along. I'll say that.
Well, yeah, no, he's way better, and people might disagree with me. I know there's a lot of people who don't really like the film, but Fire in the Sky.
Oh, I love Fire. He's amazing.
Was
that's probably his best.
Pick up that Blu-ray that came out, but I heard that that other one we were looking at. I think you brought that to my attention.
Import?
The other one, the import one. Yeah. I can't remember who put it out.
I'm kind of waffling back and forth. Yeah.
I think that one's got better special features. It has a commentary, and I don't think that the new one has the U.S. one has a commentary. But I think the other one's region free. It's just really expensive.
Yeah, because I think
it was what was it, $40?
I think it was Imprint. It was Australian
Imprint.
boutique.
Yeah,
their shit's always expensive.
But I'm dipping into this now foreign stuff because I've got that Blu-ray from Turbine of TCM2, which is I love the cover. And then you know what I went and did, and I fucked up. I was like, well, I'll get another German title that's really hard to find. I don't know if you've seen this film. It's the French New Wave from the French New Wave Martyrs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I had the DVD originally, and then ended up selling it.
The Weinstein DVD.
Yeah, not because I hated the movie. So apparently, there's a Blu-ray, a Region 1 Blu-ray, but it's out of print and super expensive. And so I ordered this German one, and there's no English subtitles. I should have looked better.
That's a bad mistake. I had that happen to me. I'm a big fan of the Pusher trilogy from Nicholas Winding Refn, and the only place it really came out, it's whatever country's from. I can't remember, Sweden or Denmark or whatever. And so it only came out in Blu-ray, and I think Germany. So my dad got it to me, and it came in a steelbook. I'm like, oh, the Pusher trilogy, no fucking subtitles. I'm like, okay, if I ever want to watch this movie again, it's Region 1 DVD only. Sucks. Well,
guess what? There's I think that Imprint or I think it's Imprint is putting out a Blu-ray, a re-release Blu-ray, or someone is another import, but it's actually going to have English subtitles on it. And it's just it's up for pre-order right now. But it was more because I only paid I paid a lot for this fucking Blu-ray. It pisses me off. I paid $17-18.
Yeah.
For it, and I'm kind of pissed. I'm like,
and you can't even flip it now. That's what sucks.
Well, what am I gonna do? Try to send it, and I've got to ship it back to Germany. It's I'm basically gonna eat this purchase, and it's my fault. It's not actually. It's not coming from Germany. Why I really thought that it would be all right, and I didn't think I needed to look at it, was because there's this guy that's selling these German imports or just different imports, and he's from the UK. So it's okay, so why are you selling a German import obviously people are in the UK, how many people speak German? Why would you have a German import that doesn't? Unless
got a stack of them cheap. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only thing I could think, but he's making quite a bit of money. And then I looked it up, and if I'd ordered off Germany's Amazon, I could have got it for $6.
Yeah.
But I would have had to pay. Well, I don't know. I don't know how
it would have been the same with shipping.
Works.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm getting free shipping on these, so I didn't cost. But it was because you're getting free shipping. His prices, I looked up that chainsaw, and I could have gotten it from German Amazon for $5 cheaper, but I think he's rolling some of the shipping into it because he's offering free shipping.
Yeah.
So I don't know why, but I was gonna order Trick or Treat too, because that's German. That's the only German, and I've seen this Blu-ray rip or this rip from the Blu-ray, and it looks great. I don't think it's coming out. I don't think it's ever gonna come out here. So
yeah, probably not.
I know you like that film a lot, right? Trick or Treat.
Yeah, I do. But
So what? You pick up anything else?
oh yeah. So let's see, 5 more to go on the list.
Holy shit, dude! You ordered a lot.
But dude, here's the thing, dude. I got whatever I got here, 20 movies for the cost of that Halloween 4K set of like 3 movies. You know what I'm saying?
Did you order that too?
No.
Oh,
Dude, I need that to come down in price big time to jump on that.
It's not going to.
I find that hard to believe because I remember when I thought I got the deal of the century on the Friday the 13th box set at like $126 shipped, and now you can get it
and
everywhere
it was like
for
80 or 75 or something.
No, not that low, but 100. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I just need the Halloween set because I think the cheapest I've seen is like 104, and I'm like, I would jump in a second.
You're a Halloween fanatic.
I am. I would jump in a second at 60, but I needed to get to 80.
You're such a fanatic. I was thinking you need to trade me that Night of the Living Dead, what is it, Twilight, whatever, release for my Blockbuster Video VHS of Halloween for your display, brother.
I mean, I'll if you want that release, that Twilight Time,
I would give you so much better fucking.
I know, like I'll do a trade, but I have no use for the Blockbuster Halloween.
It's for your Halloween display, brother. Didn't you tell me you worked at a Blockbuster? Come on.
No, I worked at Hollywood Video.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Same thing, right?
Yeah. Same shit. But yeah, so this is another blind buy, but I've always wanted to see this movie, $5.99. The Demi Moore and Gary Oldman version of The Scarlet Letter from the 90s.
Nope, never seen it.
I always want to see it. So this one is, again, completing the Argento collection, $9.99. The movie Sleepless, Dario Argento, which I have seen once. I rented it on DVD years ago at Max von Sydow. I remember that one being a little bit of a snoozer, but I think it's going to come off better seeing it in HD.
Is that late 90s that came out?
Yeah, like maybe 98, 99. It might even be 2000s, honestly.
I think I skipped that one.
Yeah, I've seen it.
I just recently watched Mother of Tears. Not as bad as everyone said. It's not great, but it's not that bad.
Okay, Sleepless is 2001. Yeah, Mother of Tears. And by the way, I totally stick up for Dario Argento's Dracula. So I'm not like
I picked that up not a couple like 3
dude,
months
especially
ago
the 3D. It's so cool when the fucking Dracula turns into a giant grasshopper. It's so awesome, dude. So I'm not against this schlock shit, but the Mother of Tears just kind of left me like cold. I was like, what is this? Like it just seemed like I don't know.
So you didn't like it?
I don't.
Is that what you're saying?
I've only watched it once, but I didn't like it. No. This is another movie, $5.49. It's always on sale in the Kino sales. They can't get rid of it. But I'm kind of become a closet Melanie Griffith fan. So A Stranger Among Us, she plays like a policewoman. I think she goes like undercover somewhere. It might even be like in an Amish country or some shit like that. But this next one, this is a complete blind buy to me. This next one is $5.99. I've never heard of it. It's from like 1987. It's called Talking Walls with Sybil Danning, Sally Kirkland, and Don Calfa, who was in Returning Living Dead. Is a Scorpion release.
Is it a comedy?
I don't think so. Like the cover is like a guy.
It sounds familiar.
He hangs out at a sleazy hotel, and he basically spies on hookers all day. It says, like any red-blooded American male, Paul Barton lives for romance and intimacy, but his desire to find the key to a lasting relationship, Barton carries voyeurism to the point of obsession and beyond. Armed with state-of-the-art equipment, he begins an unusual college research project. determined
research.
determined to find the source of true passion. Check this out. He knocks a.
Is that Don Kafka's character is doing this shit?
No, I think he's too old. I think Steven Shellen is the guy.
I'm imagining him doing this sleazy shit, like spying on him, like, oh, this is gold.
But dude, I mean, like, it was just in the list of sale movies, but it was like the cover sleazy because it's like a hooker laying on the bed and you just see like her legs and like high heels and garters.
It sounds fun. Like everything else you've been naming, I'm like, nah. And then Cabin Boy, I'm like, what the fuck? But this sounds good.
Well, check this out. This is the plot description on the website. He knocks a hole in the wall of his motel room. And begins taping the intimate moments in the adjoining room. But his
real sleazy.
And dude, it's from 1987 as well, so you know it's gonna, his passionate research does not stop there. Soon the entire motel was under his watchful eye. So
he's got cameras in every fucking room.
Yes. Oh. His research yields some very interesting and steamy findings. Findings about love, his college professor, the girl of his dreams. Talking Walls is a high-tech, high-octane drama where temperatures rise, sparks fly, and where morality is thrown out the window.
That plot synopsis makes that movie... It's a sleazy plot, but it's trying to make it sound classy.
Yeah. But it sounds like it's going to be awesome. And then,
so is that tonight's watch then? You throwing that
well,
on?
I don't have it yet, but when I get it, I'm not going to lie, that's going to be the first one out of this list of whatever 20 movies. So last but not least, I always passed on this. I'm like even just renting it for 99 cents on VHS, I always passed on it. I don't know why. I think for some reason my dad went to see it by himself. I don't know what happened. But the movie Firebirds with Nicolas Cage and I think Tommy Lee Jones, it's like a Top Gun ripoff, except they're training in military helicopters.
So instead of jet fighters,
it's like Apache helicopters and shit. And I forget what girl's in it, but some girl's in it as the love interest. But I've always seen that movie, and I've even seen it on the Blu-ray sale. But I'm like, this motherfucker, because it always happens with the $5-6 Kino movies. They have them for cheap forever, just trying to clear them out. And then, when they're finally out of print and you can't buy them anymore, then fuckers are wanting $70, $80 on eBay. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I saw a Kino, I think it's out of print Blu-ray. It was one of their earlier ones at Goodwill, but I didn't know what the fuck. It wasn't anything I seemed to be into, but I should have grabbed it because it probably was $70, $80.
Dude, do me a favor if you ever find it, and I'll pay you good money for it if you find something for cheap. See if you can find the Kino Blu-ray of a movie called Modern Girls.
Is this the one you told me that you missed out on?
I missed. I didn't even know it existed. And I saw it on MGM HD, and I looked it up. I'm like, oh, it's got a Kino Blu-ray, and it's I don't know how long it's been out of print, but I've seen it go for as much as $140 on eBay. Jeez. There was some dude trying to get $70. I was trying to lowball him down. I was willing to go 40 shipped, but the lowest he would go was I think 58 shipped, and I was like, ugh. Because it's an MGM movie, and MGM has deals with everybody. I'm like, it's only a matter of time before somebody else re-releases this. But
Vinegar Syndrome.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're getting. I didn't expect Roadhouse. So.
Yeah, I didn't either. And that movie is it's a fun movie. It's just a goofy comedy, but it's got Clayton Rohner in it, Virginia Madsen. It's got wow. It's got memorable people in it. So I don't understand why nobody else wants to put it out. But it's always been rare because I think MGM did a DVD themselves, but it was one of those archive burnt ones. It wasn't even a real DVD release, and even that goes for 20 something bucks. But if you ever come across that movie for whatever you pick it up for, $5-10, I'll do you $40 plus $5 shipping. I'll do.
It was just when I went to the Goodwill. The one Goodwill here in town. There's other ones in other nearby towns, but they never really have that much media. And I was just kind of surprised, but it didn't look like anything good. And I think that one wants $5 for the Blu-rays. So. Yeah. I didn't grab it, but I was like, wow, they had a Kino release in there, and I almost did. But it wasn't that one.
Yeah. It just sucks. But yeah, we've done an hour of bonus. We already did it.
Yeah, you got all kinds of material now to work with. Jeez.
Yeah, I'm like, should I just release it as a separate episode? Like, no, I'll just give the fans a 3-hour episode. We'll kick it EC style. But yeah, I mean that's it. That's it. Obviously, the No Man's Land talk ended a long time ago. But yeah, man, No Man's Land, heavy hitter. You got to get on it. It airs actually a lot on TV if anybody has like cable TV or anything. So keep an eye out on your DVR or whatever.
Yeah, it's definitely. I remember bringing it up to you and you saying, "Oh, I love that movie," and I'm like, "Wow, I've never talked to anybody that liked it." So, and I just remember seeing it back when I was a kid in like 95, 96, and like I said, I caught it. I'd say it was like when they first go out and are like. I think it's when they first start stealing the first Porsche or whatever.
When he has the big ring of keys and shit.
Yeah, I think that's when I was like, this is really interesting, and I'm like, wow, this is great. So I don't know. I mean, you know, if you like deep cover, you'll love this. I think. So.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, deep cover is awesome, and I actually wouldn't mind covering that too. But like, No Man's Land is even better, I think.
You think it's better? I'm gonna have to go with. I really like No Man's Land, and it's probably. It's got to be.
Yeah, no, I mean,
it's not my favorite. It's one of my favorite Charlie Sheen movies, but I like Deep Cover a lot, man.
Deep Cover is good. I love Deep Cover when it came out, but Deep Cover doesn't have a bunch of Porsches. But Porsche goes a long way.
Yeah, they're not really. It's a whole other different plot. It's not
Deep Cover, like where he's in the ghetto and shit, slanging rock. It's like Death Wish 3 apocalyptic ghetto bullshit.
Yeah. Oh, and the one girl in the fucking the building he lives in is like trying to sell him her kid and stuff. I was like, yeah, this is great. So
I mean, we're going to wrap it up here, but obviously this was a lot of fun. We did a lot of unrecorded material as well. We could have done a whole separate episode unrecorded material. I know you're always on a time crunch, Bat, because Bat's got a lot going on in terms of side projects and things he does. You don't really do a regular podcast anymore, but you're always working on something creatively.
Yeah, I was hoping to revive for the third time EC at some point, but it's just been so busy. So it was cool I've been just kind of guest spotting lately. I did the MVP, we did the Cronenberg retrospective, and now you've finally have been like, hey, when are you going to invite me on your show? So
I'll be honest, I never thought like you were, and this is just my dumb mistake, I just never thought you were really, because for a long time you really weren't doing any podcasting. I just didn't think you would be into doing a show like this, you know what I mean?
No, my whole thing with podcasts is I just got burned out with editing, and I just got tired of orchestrating them. I always enjoyed guest spotting and doing stuff, joining in on other people's shows, and your podcast here is kind of it's you, but you never have a set. Well, you did for a while, but you don't really have a set co-host anymore. So you just I know Zach's been running past a year or longer.
Year plus, yeah. I mean, he's probably the more current, or the more regular. But this show was always meant. With the exception of me, because I mean I'm the one who edits it and puts it out and all that kind of thing. Yeah. It was always meant to be. It was originally kind of envisioned as a 3-man show. Yeah. And we just never got the third man. And then but even if you look back, even early on, I want to say episode 8, I did it with the first guest host. So I mean, it just always has been a rotating thing.
You've done shows with Bird and Trev.
Yeah, like in the history of the show, I've done with Corey G, Trev, Bird and Trev, Bird and his co-host with the Kaiju Transmissions, Matt, who's like a super cool guy.
I think I listened to one of those episodes, and you guys did. I don't remember who you did it with. We were doing Friday the 13th. Stuff, right?
Yeah, I think of all the Friday the 13th have been done with Trev. Because that's his favorite.
And I've listened to a few. I've listened to a few of those. So, and Trev and Bird were on EC, weren't they? Or maybe
I
it was
think
on
they
a
were.
podcast
Or
with you.
well,
I
we
could've
used to
sworn
do
they
those
did.
like podcast jams on Hillbilly DVD. Jelly jumped
Yeah.
on. He used to do podcasts a lot. Hey, he's back doing podcasts, but he does like some Dragon Ball Z shit, which I know nothing. I know Dragon Ball Z super popular, but I just got to be honest.
Yeah.
Like I'm too old. I didn't grow up with it. I don't know anything about it at all.
I don't know anything about it really. I remember.
And then
being
Zach
on
did one about a year ago with Zach and Aaron. Oh, we did one with Zach and Mac. That was fun. We did Biodome.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, we're like with you coming on, we're probably getting in like around the dozen. Oh, and also my fiance. Can't forget my fiance. We've done a lot of episodes together. Boo.
I heard about these, but I haven't. I need to go back and look at the Boo.
Yeah.
Check out the Boo episodes. Jeez.
It's mostly
course,
me talking, but yeah, we do episodes.
Of course, you and Zach doing the Josie and the Pussycats caused the studios to release.
It did. We got the Blu-ray released.
Blu-ray.
Yeah. Wow. Like
power.
I think it was like breaking news. Like the day after we recorded it, they were like, "Fuck it, we're giving in. It's coming out on Blu-ray." Yeah.
We need to start talking about the Day the Clown Cried. Fucking.
It will finally come out.
Yeah, it'll finally come out.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we'll talk about. Hey, we need the Ilsa box set.
Oh, Ilsa box
Blu-ray.
set. Yeah. We'll do the VHS review, and then that will make the 4K come out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, they're on DVDs.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. But yeah, man, I maybe if you're doing something, or I don't know if you have back episodes, I'd be down to cover something for the October season. I'm sure Streetos probably wants to get something going too, and put something out.
We tried it because it's always backfired on me. Anytime I've done a holiday themed one, like horror kind of does good any time of the year, but horror actually does the worst download number wise in October, I think, because everybody. And then anytime I try to do a Christmas or a New Year's Eve theme film during December, the numbers have tanked. So
I'll tell you, with the Halloween thing, you don't want to release the show on Halloween. Like you want to release it a few days before, because people are always they're not gonna bother. They got festivities, parties, and stuff they're doing. So like a week before would be good.
But I'm a sucker though. Like this is how much of a nerd I am for my podcast. Like there's been some times where I just released shit on certain days because I had to get it out or it got delayed. But like if you look back, it's very like we do very day specific. We've done April Fool's things where we release old joke episodes. We've done, I think all of our Friday the 13th episodes were released on a Friday the 13th. Did New Year's Eve, did Christmas Evil on New Year's, I'm getting confused. Christmas Evil on Christmas Eve, New Year's Evil on New Year's Eve. Like, that just makes it fun for me because, like, here's the thing with our show. Like, we do have good, loyal listeners. We have a few hundred loyal listeners, and I appreciate you guys a lot. And you guys reach out sometimes on YouTube or whatever. But, like, our show is, like, it is literally a retro show. So, like, some of our biggest whatever episodes now are ones that came out 6-7 months ago, a year ago. And, like a lot of our shows come out and they do okay at first. And then over time, they pick up steam. Like, our show's really weird like that, but I appreciate it because it's like, I would hate to do one of those podcasts, Bat, where you talk about current events and the show's only interesting to people that week. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I don't think that works. And that's why with EC, I always tried to cover films that were not modern or nothing new or whatever. Cause it's like, what are we going to cover? The new A24, which, I'm not opposed. I love A24 stuff, but I get what you're saying. It dates it, and it's problematic.
But I mean, it's just so much fun. I mean, this is kind of de facto, because I didn't mention it on the last episode. This is kind of our de facto 7-year celebration. So I mean, and I've been podcasting with you, Bat, a lot longer than 7 years. So it's kind of nice to do a full circle.
You were doing. You were doing Hillbilly DVD reviews even before that. So you've been doing stuff for a minute. I'm glad to see you're doing those shorties and kind of getting back into it. I always liked your YouTube, and I think that dude, I mean, like, now it's just so heavy, you know. I just was like, I think I said it to you before. I'm like, why aren't you doing this now?
I know.
This is where it's at now. You know, you were ahead of the game.
I was ahead of the game, and then, like, I did a few hundred videos, because there's literally hundreds of videos that I did, and it's like, it kind of just became old to me, and, like, I don't know, like, the one thing, and I've had to take breaks because of life things that happen or whatever, so there's, like, in the last 7 years, I know there's 2 big chunks where, you know, the movie Graveyard, like, we had to go on like 6-month hiatuses and shit. Like the last one was like I had to take a couple months off because I moved, and then like I had an old desk that was falling apart, so I got a new desk, and then the desk came and it was missing the screws, so I had to find the right screws. That took months, ordering all this hardware, trying shit out, trying to find the right screws to fit this desk, and then I was sick for months, and it was just like it sucked, you know. But like, I was honestly, like, I was going to jump back into YouTube with a new channel this year, and like, I just want to get this podcast going again full time, honestly, because this is actually more fun for me to do than being on camera and acting like a jerk off. You know what I mean? I mean, not that I don't act like a jerk off on here, like the listeners know. Like when Zach's here, all we talk about is cum, but like. Dude, I'm just a grown ass man. Like nobody's really dying. Like, nobody was really dying to see me when I was like 27 years old on YouTube when it first started. So nobody's really dying to see me on camera now. You know what I mean? Like, I think if I do come back, I'm going to start a new channel, and it's going to be the same shit, movie talk, but I'm going to take it to like a bizarre Nicolas Cage level, if that makes any sense.
You should do, I always wanted to do, if I ever did a YouTube thing, I want to do like a horror movie type host, come
like
up with
a character
or something. Like, it's like, whatever, it's like, oh, you're sitting at your fucking, with your toys and your posters
that's so
and
lame.
Stuff in the background, like, dude, whatever. Like, I don't give a fuck what you can. Oh, you got all this money to buy all this shit. Like,
and like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm the sucker who buys Funko Pops. I probably own like 20 of them. But like, I realize how lame it is to line them all up in the background and sit in front of them. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I would like to. I think the horror movie host thing, or like the character's cool. Yeah. And you got some movie posters in the back that you rotate out and stuff. But like, you need to create an atmosphere. Like, make a fucking fake castle backdrop, like, and stuff, like, you know, and let's have like a cauldron with fucking dry ice and shit with you know, like stuff like that or whatever. But I don't know. I don't have time to come up with that shit. I'm just getting too old for that bullshit now. So
yeah, like, I would have to reinvent it in a way where it would almost be like borderline filmmaking. Then it would be talking shit in front of a stupid web camera. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, I still do feel the need to kind of like pop on and talk about like normal everyday shit, like that's like happening now. But I don't know.
Boutique tomfoolery.
Yeah, boutique tomfoolery, remakes, talk, whatever. Yeah, but either way, just to wrap up, obviously, thank you, Bat. It was fun.
Yeah,
I mean,
thanks for having me on. Jeez,
it was more pleasure than it was business.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just had gotten off work. I'm having a couple of drinking an IPA here and hanging out. And I've got the Wraith on. I've had the Wraith on now since we started this little bullshit talk. So just kind of watching that in the background since we, you know, I said that it'd make a great double feature after No Man's Land. So here it is.
It would. Yeah. Like, we pretty much, you know.
Yeah, well, consider it. I'd be down with some kind of Halloween. I don't know. Pick something obscure, or pick some whatever. I don't know. Wild card. I'd be down with something fun like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's because like the way I kind of do it with the host or the co-host, like there's a lot of, like, every once in a while I'll be like, you know, I'll let Zach pick the movies for a while, and then I'll be like, Zach, like, what about this? And I'll have him do me a favor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like,
we should get Zach on too.
Yeah.
Though. So we can throw we gotta have cum in there.
Yeah, I mean, he would have been for this, but he was thinking, I don't know because I haven't been online while we're recording this, but he was thinking he was going to have to do a live stream with his Revival House guys. But
okay.
But
does he like this film?
He's never seen it, and he couldn't get a copy. And I was like, well, but I know.
Well, he should have hit up Bat, and Bat could have helped him.
That's what I thought. But like he was having problems with the schedule anyway, so I didn't really.
Yeah.
Because there was another episode too that me and him are going to do, but kind of got rescheduled because like one thing I love about Zach, he'll literally like 100 times out of 100 he'll move everything in his schedule just to fit you in, but like his schedule finally got kind of, which like he's working, he's back to school, he's doing everything right now, so I understand.
Going to school? Cool.
Yeah, he's doing some I don't know exactly what it is, but I know he's getting some, it's basically like computer specialty, so yeah. But yeah, so that's it. So thank you, Bat. Thank you everybody for 7 years of the movie Graveyard. Like, I don't know which will come first, Bat. We would probably have to crank up the drive and overtime to hit it before, but like my minimum goal, and I've never said this publicly, but since 7 years is a lucky thing, I'm going to say this almost as a wish out loud. My goal with this podcast is to get it to either 10 years or 250 episodes, whichever come first. So
that's a good number because I don't even think EC ever hit 100. I think we're at close to 80 or something, but you know, when you think about EC and you're like, okay, 80 of the mammoth shows you do, it's like you did
80 ECs is like 200 of so
right.
But I mean,
that last episode, so
I mean, I think I could be wrong, but I think this episode No Man's Land might be 132. So we got a lot, dude.
Congrats. Jeez, that's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, again, you know, I fell off the wagon a couple times over the years, but I was happy to always pick it up and really find new co-hosts throughout the years to try and, you know, and you never know how, because you've been through this too, Bat, with long-running shows, you never know how listeners will react to new hosts or whatever, and like, you know, it's just...
I never really cared about that as long as I had someone to bounce off shit with and like whatever. And I remember when Dale had discovered you, but you'd already you've said you'd already heard our podcast and stuff.
Yeah, I already knew you guys.
And he hipped me to you, and I was like, yeah. He's like, I was like, we should get this guy to. What do you think? You think this guy? Let's get this guy to join the show. He's like, he's exactly. I don't know. We weren't looking for anybody, but you were like fit the mold, and they were like. Yeah, it just so happens. He's like, I'd love to join your show, but it just so happens that I'm trying to kick off my own podcast. Yeah. So, yeah.
I think I was more successful in joining EC than I was launching my own show, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you should have just joined the EC altogether. But no, this podcast here is fucking cool, man. Like,
I love it, dude.
It definitely works, and I think you found something that's. I don't know. I haven't listened to enough, but I don't know if it's on the level of like your YouTube podcast videos. I don't even know if that's called a podcast because like nothing beats fucking watching you guys stand out in the garage, drinking beer, reading fucking Laserdisc, fucking facts of Laserdisc and stuff.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It was just the circumstance of life events tore us apart, but we would have kept going if we were in the same area, the same city. But when you live 9 hours away from your co-host, and like it just became too much for me to do the videos by myself. After a while, it wasn't fun anymore.
You need someone to bounce stuff off.
I mean, it was fun, but it was fun on like a level of like 4 out of 10, where the garage days were like 10 out of 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love those videos.
But I love this, and I don't know, well, not that anybody really has a frame of reference, but you know this, but like Hillbilly DVD Reviews, the podcast, in relation to the YouTube channel, the podcast was supposed to originally be all commentaries, the way this show pretty much is.
Oh, really?
So yeah, that was I was like, I'm just gonna start a podcast, and I was originally, and I've never had the balls to do this, and I know you did it with the first episode of EC, but I was originally going to do the commentaries by myself, and it like I came to the realization is I can't talk nonstop. I can do like 80% of the time, like. But I just, you know, it's like I run out of breath. I need to take a sip of water. I can't fill the time by myself.
Got to go to the bathroom and stuff or whatever, sneak off. Yeah, I could never do it No, that whole episode was just out of like necessity because I couldn't really. And not only that, I was trying to entice J-Dog because I'd been bugging him, and he was like, "Well, I'm gonna go on holiday." Yeah. And it was like around Christmas, or it was getting close to something. I don't know. He was going on, and he was like, and I'm like, "Oh fuck it, I just want to do it." And I was like, "I'll find a co-host." And then he heard it, and he was like, "Yeah. Wow, you can edit." And I'm like, "Yeah, what do you, I told you I have everything. Let's do this." Yeah. And he's like, "Yeah, I want to join up." And then, the rest is
pretty much you hit an audition to get a co-host. Is what you say. I liked it. I like because I know you were kind of in and out, and after a while, like me and Dale would do a couple episodes by ourselves, and then you would come back, and you're just too busy with Sleaze Fiend or whatever was going on. But like I was kind of hoping that even if it was just for like a 40-minute thing, I was kind of hoping at some point you would just come back and drop another solo episode because I really enjoyed, honestly, and I understand like it was your first kind of time doing it, and it was weird and awkward. But I always liked that episode. I thought it was unique, personally. But...
Yeah, I heard other people say that too as well. I don't know. It's just I did some stuff. I remember I think I had to do like an intro.
Yeah, you did.
Solo maybe once or twice or something like that because we just didn't. I don't know what happened. Maybe we lost something or we didn't have time or something, or it was something for you guys. Maybe some kind of solo thing or whatever. And so I felt comfortable doing that for like 10 or 15 minutes, 20 minutes tops. But yeah, it's just really difficult to try to do something. And it was like, that episode was only an hour or something. So
maybe we'll do that for the April Fool's episodes each year now. Like I'll just sit down, like a 16 pack of beer and try to make it through a movie by myself.
I do a commentary.
Yeah. Because recently we did Matilda and Zach, his internet crashed, or actually his whole computer crashed, and I was trying to carry it for like 2 minutes, waiting for him to get back, and it got so bad I was just like doing like shitty rapping and trying to make words rhyme, and just it devolved so quick, like it was terrible. But no, we're going on 3.5 hours now back.
You gotta get to that pizza, dude.
I gotta get to that pizza.
Yeah.
But
well, thanks again for having me on.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I look forward to
because I don't think I could have ever found anybody, and I mean literally anybody, to cover No Man's Land who like actually like I mean maybe I could have forced Zach to see it, but it just would have been some weird movie he would have been going into cold. So I appreciate that I was able to find you, that somebody had a history with the film. So
yeah. I don't know anybody else, and then when you said it, I was like, wow, I haven't watched this in a while, so this should be fun and everything. And I know we were talking about, I don't know, you're into some other stuff, like, not to say that this is going to be maybe down the road, but I know you're into Buffalo 66 too.
Oh, huge, yeah.
I got a buddy that we originally discovered it back in whatever, when it came out, 98 or whatever, wasn't it? 99?
98 or 99.
And we had both seen it and rented it at the video store and liked it, but he's a lot older. He's probably around your age, actually. And so he's the only one other that I know. Dude,
I went to see Buffalo 66 in an art house theater by myself.
A lot of people hate that film, too, because they think that it's like Vincent Gallo is just like blowing his load on the screen. I'm like, are you kidding me?
No.
The fucking line, I'll take a bite out of your cheek and shit you out. Like, I mean, fucking A, dude.
Dude,
like,
the whole movie where he's like talking to himself and shit, and he's like, I'm going to fucking kill Scott Norwood. I'm going to kill Scott Norwood.
Yeah. Dude, it's great. And I don't ever hear anybody, and it's surprising with Christina Ricci in it.
You're right.
And
she's awesome in it, too. Mickey Rourke, Jan-Michael Vincent, Kevin Corrigan. It's fucking all-star cast, dude. When he tries a carjacker and he's like, "Okay, you drive," and she's like, "Huh?"
He doesn't know how to drive.
He's like, "Okay, like I'm better than that. Like I drive cars that shift themselves. Okay,
right.
I don't
like
do
Cadillac.
this." Yeah.
No, but that like opening montage when he gets out of prison and it has like all those little film like. That was around when I really had film aspirations real heavy, too. And I was like, how'd they do that with all the other little clips and superimpose, like I hadn't edited before, and they superimposed them onto the screen, and like,
Dude, the ending with the Yes song, or it's Rampant's like ding 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 ding, and dude, and he shot it on, again, this is a 4-hour episode now, but he shot it on that weird reversal film stock that they shot NFL films on in like the 60s and 70s. And when
makes sense with the football tie,
like
with the batting.
Yeah, exactly, which is just genius. But like when they were filming it, they didn't even know if it was working, like the film stock. They didn't even know if they were actually getting anything. That's how crazy it is, but I love it. But yeah, Bat, thanks again, and obviously anybody. I hope we do rope in some No Man's Land diehards here, because it's a great film. It means a lot to me, and I'm so, like, it literally is one of the bucket list films for this podcast that, like, I just wanted to do so bad at some point in time. But yeah, as always, thank you, Bat. Listeners, thank you for 7 awesome years. I know a lot of different people have come and gone, but I know some of you guys have been listening for years too, and I appreciate all your nice comments. And I try to, anytime YouTube lets me know when there's a comment like that you guys leave, I always try to respond. Sometimes they don't let me know when it is, so I might miss one. But again, thank you for 7 years, and we'll catch you back right here again next time in the Movie Graveyard.
What about this one? Not too shabby, huh?
Nah, Italian trash. Besides, I only steal Porsches.